Yes, you're muted.
Amazing times. Hello, chat. Hi, I am muted. Thank you for letting me know. It's been a day. We're here today to talk about something very important to me. I know that there's been a couple times that I brought up on stream things around mental health and psych and things like that. So we have a guest here today, and that's what we're going to talk about. And please feel free, like, if you have any comments or questions or anything, feel free to chime in, talk with us. This is going to be one big chat. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Deeply honored to do so. Hi, everybody. My name is Horatius the Dwarf. Um, Cammy, you did a wonderful time introducing me already, but permit me the privilege. Like I said, my name is Horatius the Dwarf, and on Monday through Friday, I'm a mental health professional in a middle school setting. But on the weekends, I'm a dwarf on the internet. And when I'm not talking about psychology, sociology, and mental health, which are always welcome topics on my streams, I'm playing games as dwarvenly as I possibly can. Whether that's a Dark Souls game with a pickaxe or playing Deep Rock Galactic.
Oh, I've played Deep Rock Galactic a couple times and I was very bad at it, but it is very fun.
You let me know if you ever want to play. I'm always down.
I would love to if you can accept that I'm very bad at it.
Oh, it's okay. I am well accustomed to taking care of green beards.
Yay, yippee. I remember playing before and the only complaint I had is like I want to be a cuter dwarf. Not that there's anything wrong with the dwarfs that are in there, but like
I understand.
I was like I just want to be like the cutest little dwarf and they're like no, you will be a manly rugged dwarf. And I'm like okay. It's like all right, I'll be rugged.
You can get enough cosmetics to be very adorable. Don't
That's
worry
right,
about
there
it.
are cosmetics. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I forgot about that. Yeah, I would love to play sometime. The chat, say hi. Say hi.
Howdy. Am I more of a Moradin's Hammer kind of dwarf or a Book of Grudges kind of dwarf? I'm a little of neither. I guess closer to the Moradin's Hammer type of dwarf. I've met many a practitioner of Moradin and many a scrawler in a Book of Grudges, although myself have never been much one for a Book of Grudges. Kami, are you familiar with that concept?
I'm not.
So, in some mountain homes, in some clans, it's common practice that a dwarf of age has a book called their Book of Grudges, where they transcribe upon the pages every single thing that everybody has ever done and wronged them,
Oh my gosh.
so that they are never forgotten or forgiven. I am a bit more of a pragmatic dwarf myself. I have met good dwarves, I've met bad dwarves, I've met good elves and bad elves, and certainly plenty of bad humans. But no, I think grudges weigh you down, and when I die, I would like to be able to look back on the hopefully hundreds of years fondly, with little regret or grievance in my heart.
I like that. I like your answer. That's interesting. No, I had never heard that before. No such thing as a good elf. Stop it. You can't be mean like
No,
that.
no, I get it. I get it. You see the worst elves out there. They're pompous. They're full of themselves. They're long-lived. They think they're good smiths. Some of them are. It's fine. But no, there are good elves out there. I can tell you that right now. The day you meet a proper elven winemaker and you taste those wines of theirs, you can forgive everything.
I love that whole like I don't know. I don't even know if world is like the right word for it. Um
Lore?
yes, that's 100% better than world. No, I really like everything like revolving around just like the fantasy. Uh I could have been an elf. I could have been an
Yeah,
elf.
we could be doing peace talks right now.
I could have been an elf. I would say like in a previous life I was an elf, but you know what? In the previous life I was also a human, so it's
Yeah.
we have a theme and it's usually human, sometimes cat ears, but usually human. What sort of elf would you
I,
have been? Oh. See, the thing about me and with like fantasy races is I really only this is like embarrassing to say out loud. I really am more familiar with like the World of Warcraft side of things. So when I think elf, I think blood elf, dark elf, void elf, night elf, things like that.
Yeah.
I obviously like there's drow and things like that, but if I'm going from my World of Warcraft knowledge, probably a night elf. I know it's very basic, but it's probably what it would have been.
Slash dance on a mailbox makes money. Who am I to say?
Good old Goldshire Inn. I think it was Goldshire, right? Yeah, Goldshire.
I think that was a bed for that. I played Horde personally.
Oh, same. So. I started Alliance, and now not that I still play WoW in 2025. No. I do. But I'm Horde now usually.
I played Horde for the majority of my time. To my healers, where my healers at, I see you as a support main. I recognize game. I was a druid healer, a Tauren druid healer for years. I did my dime in the make green bar go up mines.
Make green bar go up. I like healing.
Yeah, healing's fun.
Healing's fun. When I played Ragnarok Online, I mained a healer.
Oh man, I was a degenerate back in the rag days.
I love the rag days.
I was the kind of merchant who would put an extra 0
on
my goods and just hope people wouldn't read.
Oh, I was the type of person who would fall for that.
Yep.
Every time. Oh, amazing. I love Ragnarok Online. That is one of my favorite games of all time. It's very nostalgic.
See, that's the thing though, Scully, is I get to hold their life in my hands.
You get to decide whether they live or die.
I get to look at you and be like, did you deserve my battle res?
Were you mean to the healers and tanks? Weird.
That's a fucking mistake.
Maybe you should have been nicer. I still heal sometimes. I have a healer druid, and I do love her very much. But my main is a huntress, so not as healy as usual. But I do love my healer still. Druid is very fun.
And then when Classic came around, I played Alliance. I played a dwarf warrior, dwarf tank.
I love Classic.
I liked Classic a lot. I actually have a very fun story about Classic. So I have a pair of friends, and they were delightful ladies, and they provided a service to Lobies that I thought was fun at first, and then I sat in on one, and I was like, oh, this is twisted. So running people through dead mines, right?
Yeah.
Classic, running people through dead mines helps people get their start. And charging people gold for these runs was also pretty common practice. These two friends of mine, however, took it a step further. They would get into Discord calls with the people they were running, and they would do, let's say, verbal power plays with their clients who are not allowed to have a mic open.
Oh no.
And would make them feel bad for needing a shadow priest and a warlock to run them through dead mines.
Oh,
and they made, I cannot stress this enough, bank.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
To the point where they showed up with enough gold to buy flasks for all of our molten core content.
Did people know what they were getting themselves into when they
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can imagine what a surprise that is if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm paying these people to help me, and you get in a call and they're like, I can't believe you needed our help.
Welcome to the asylum, Captain.
Oh, that's funny.
Incredible.
I played Season of Discovery too, and I really, really enjoyed that. I'm kind of sad it's ending.
I'm unfamiliar, but I've heard people talk about it.
Yeah, it's just classic with some added bonuses or twists. Like warlocks could be tanks, and that was really neat. Our main tank was actually really, really good warlock. So it was a good time. And then my account got banned. They claimed that I was botting. I wasn't. It got banned for 6 months. And then it came back. Jeez. And by the time it came back, Season of Discovery was basically over.
That's twisted.
It was real messed up.
Welcome to the asylum.
Thank you for the follows. Is there a topic that you? I mean, it's hard because I feel like all the topics are really good, really important. But is there one that speaks to you that you like to speak about, first, or one that just really means a lot to you?
I think the most like important opener, but it's also a bit more of a meta concept when talking about mental health that I like to do in these spaces online is the way I discuss psychology and mental health on my channel is I talk about it pragmatically.
Mm-hmm.
I'm educated. I have my degree. I know what I'm talking about. Like, I can give you the textbook if you want the textbook, right? But that's not how people learn. My wife's a teacher. I currently am working as like a pseudo, like half teacher, half like psych professional in the classroom kind of vibe. So I've learned a lot about pedagogy over the past couple of years. And what I've recognized is I can sit there and I can tell chat like, oh, well, this is how depression works. And it has a lot to do with this and that and this and that. And I can get into the nitty gritty, but the 80% of that's going to wash over people and it's not going to stick. So I think as any professional in any field, when you're teaching a layman audience, which like honestly, there could be people in this chat right now that have more education in the field of psychology than I do, for all I know, right? It's the internet. But odds are most people here have like anecdotal personal experiences with mental health at most.
Yeah, that's me. That's my experience.
Yeah, and it's valuable experience. It's always a valuable perspective too. But I think when and you have your profession, right? And if you were to talk about your profession in length, I think the way that you should do it is you should talk about personal experiences, speak pragmatically. You don't need to bother people with a bunch of terminology that's not going to stick, because that's not helpful. So when I talk about psychology and when we talk about it today, like I'm going to use a lot of not traditional terminology. I'm going to describe things vibely. I'm going to describe things with like practical application, because when you're having a mental breakdown or if you're having a depressive episode, you're not going to have a couch to lay on at a moment's request and be like, Doc, let me tell you, I'm really thinking that I think I might need to up the dosage of my SSRI. I really think that some of my hormones might be imbalanced and I just need this exact approach. No, you're going to be like, I'm really sad and I can't go to work because I'm so sad.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to meet people where they're at. So that's my big first topic, I guess.
I'm
curious
really,
what you think about that.
That's a really like interesting. I really like that, because I know for me personally too, even though I have my own experiences and I've done my own research, there's a lot of things that I do not know. And for me, learning is like, I like knowing the official terms, right? Like I enjoy knowing, but I'm not going to learn if I don't know what something means. So, and I'm kind of the type of person that I will just kind of nod and pretend like I know what something means to not kind of seem dumb, which I know is a little silly, because no one's going to think someone's dumb for asking questions. But for me personally, I get anxious, surprise, about like being like, oh, I don't know what this word's. Oh, like I tried to read House of Leaves once, and for some reason I had this wonderful idea that I was like, I'm sorry, chat, I'll flip them. I just wanted, sorry. I had this wonderful idea that I was going to, anytime I saw a word that I didn't know, I was going to write it down. This happened a lot, like way more than it probably should have. But it got so frustrating at the end that I stopped reading it because I was so tired of writing down all the words that I didn't know. So that was a really long way of saying, like, I really appreciate the kind of like coming at it from a, hey, you might not have the experience that I have. You might know some of the words that are the official terms, but let's make it more approachable. Because there's a lot of really scary things around mental health, and a lot of people are really scared to learn more about it. And why not make it easier if we can?
Yeah, I mean, it also goes to the like quality over quantity, right? Like I can sit there and get through a lot of information, but if it doesn't stick, then I wasted my breath and your time.
Yeah. You could go through so many things. I guess the official terms, I guess, would come in handy in like an official classroom setting, right? Where you can take notes and ask questions and things like that. But I think you're absolutely right about like when you're just having these talks in general, coming at it from a way that is approachable and using terms that are approachable is really good. Like for my work, I kind of do the same thing. It's funny. My job's not really a secret. I'm a trust and safety agent. And it was funny because I made a post about it recently on Twitter and someone was like, there's no way that anyone in the VTuber is trusted. So I'm like, no, I am. But when I explain my job to people, I don't go into details about all of the things that I see. I don't go into like the nitty gritty, but basically I kind of say, hey, I see the worst things that people upload to a gaming platform and take them down. It's a really, really, really like small down version of it. But it helps people understand. Like it gets the point across. People understand what I'm talking about. No one's really going to understand if I sit there and I'm like, oh yeah, I see this type of thing and this type of thing, and I have to interact with NECMEC because a lot of people don't even know what NECMEC is. So it's definitely like I'm all about approaching like approachability and accessibility. I think is really, really important. And again, especially because when we spoke, especially with things like this, because there's just so much stigma around even learning about mental health. People, even myself for a while, is almost a little scary to learn about it because people kind of have a very odd view of it, which is a lot of upbringing and by no fault of their own. But to make it more approachable makes it feel like it's less of a scary thing in general. And it shouldn't be scary. It's very good to learn about.
Well, sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Definitely just showed an absolutely unhinged reactive. I'm gonna fix that. So, yeah, no, I agree, right? And it's also like understanding what is required for the context to make sense, right? Like the term you use is effective, but if the context of the sentence makes it understandable, then sure. But if not, you don't really need to get into it too much, right? The point is that you are the trawler sifting through the dredge of what gets posted, and you're like, all right, this can stay, this is good, that's great, we love to see that, this needs to go, right?
Yep.
You're a human active filter.
Yeah, which sucks.
Yeah, absolutely, because at the end of the day, you're wrist deep in crap.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you see a lot of things that you really that's also like a really big part of my job. Kind of does revolve a little bit around, not even a little bit, a lot around mental health, because you see so much, and it's interesting how few. And I mean, there's a decent amount now, but overall, how few studies there are about people who are in trust and safety and the effects that it has on their mental health because of the things that we're exposed to every day. And really, you get two sides of the coin. Well, I'm sure there's more sides of the coin, but the two biggest sides of the coin you see are someone like me who I see a lot of like suicide gifts, and I can't handle that. It really, really like that's one of my things that really gets to me. But then on the other side, you have people who say, well, I've seen them enough, they don't do anything to me anymore, which of course has its own, I feel like has its own like kind of deep things in there too that might be problematic, but it's just really interesting how little there is around the mental health of people who are doing that sort of job. And some jobs have really good mental health resources for trust and safety agents, and some jobs like mine don't. But it's kind of one of the things that like sparked me into learning even more about mental health is when I started in trust and safety, because you see the sides of people that they want to show on the internet. And some people that is a very good side, and some people that is their worst side. And it's really, really interesting. So it's neat to learn about, a bunch of different things, especially as someone who does suffer with a bunch of different things as well. Just to kind of have more knowledge kind of makes you feel a little more powerful sometimes in a good way.
Well, at the very least, it's like dominance over the pain.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, if you understand it a little more.
And that is a bit, okay, let's use one of my favorite words,
Ooh.
Introspection. Who in chat knows what introspection means? And,
I sure don't.
Tammy, what's your... Okay, well, let's break it down, right? So the first half of the word is intro, right? Or introspective. So you can already glean we're looking in something, right? And spective is perspective. So
like
we're
looking inside yourself.
Exactly. Look at you.
Yippee.
Putting it together. That's exactly what introspection is. It's looking inside yourself. Let me see. Give me a behavior, something that you do regularly.
Oh, like a good behavior or bad behavior? Not bad
I'll
necessarily.
let you choose. That's up to you. But
oh gosh. I'm trying to think of like what side of the spectrum to go here. Either Like panic attack every day about a ridiculous thing that's not going to happen, or
It can even be really small, right? It can be like, is there something that you pick up at the grocery store every single week?
No, but there are like behaviors I have at the grocery store every single week.
Yeah, go for it.
I will not pick a cold item from the front. I won't do it. Mm-mm.
Okay. So like if you reach into the fridge, the freezers, and there's like a bag of frozen peas, you'll get the second one.
Yep. And if there's only one, not getting that item this week. Mm-mm.
Interesting. So like why do you think you do that?
So actually, it's because of my emetophobia, which I just said actually like 18 times, have thought about like doing streams on before, because it's a very, very common phobia that doesn't have a lot of talk around it, and it doesn't have a lot of understanding around it. So it's really interesting to me because, I have it. It's awful. But it makes you do, or rather, because of it, I do some very interesting things, like not taking the front item from a freezer section, because my logic is, what if someone else grabbed it and put it back and it sat out for too long? Now, logically, I know that that is almost definitely not what the case is. But it's really hard sometimes to convince, your central nervous system to listen to your brain. No matter what you say, sometimes your central nervous system is like, like, no, you've conditioned me like this for way too long. I'm not listening to you.
I have to comment on Dewat in chat saying, love it when a mental health professional says interesting. I am the worst dude about that, because like I'm in the field of mental health. I'm into psychology as a genuine passion. I love studying human behavior.
That's awesome, though.
My favorite thing. It's the best and it's the worst, Cammy. It's really like sometimes I genuinely struggle to turn it off. And my wife, Willow, the wife, is in chat, and she can tell you, like, there are times where I'll just sit there and like study her behavior, and she's like, stop. I think she calls it like, you're using your powers for evil.
I feel like it's probably got to be a little hard though, right? Like, if that's what you do every day, and that's kind of, like what you were trained to look into, essentially, is the behaviors of people.
Yeah, and that is my job, right? I mean, psychology is the study of behavior, human behavior, specifically. But like going back to your phobia, I mean, remember, the big thing about phobias is that they are inherently irrational, right? Like that's the single unifying trait of all phobias is that they are irrational. For the sake of me, because I'm willing to be openly ignorant, I don't know what that phobia is. Can you tell me?
Oh, I absolutely can. Emetophobia is the fear of vomiting.
Okay.
Or less specifically, vomiting and or nausea.
Okay. So, like, obviously people vomit. Obviously people get nauseous. So, like, and that can be genuinely gross. I mean, we have like that inherent survival like reaction to those things to get away from it, because it's gross, it's dangerous, you can get sick from touching people's sick. And so like most, in my opinion, most phobias, your phobia is grounded in reason, right? What makes it irrational is you being fearful about a normally fear like mongering thing in unrealistic ways. So like you pointed out, like the front thing on the shelf doesn't, like, odds are it's not got someone sick on it, but it could.
Yeah, and it's more like, have you ever been to a store and you like grabbed an item and then you decide you don't want it, so you put it back? And usually all of that happens within like 10-20 minutes. But with people, typically with people who are emetophobic, their fear is that someone took the item, set it out, and that it sat out on, like, I don't know, the bread shelf for like 4 hours, and it's a cold item, and then maybe got put back into the cold section. Well, now it's set out for a time that's above what the FDA has permitted for like healthy bacteria growth, and now it's a risk because of bacteria growth. It's very interesting though, because like the phobia itself is a lot more common than I even thought it was. And a lot of times it seems like it's rooted in a fear of the unknown. You don't know when you're going to throw up. You don't know the next time it's going to happen. For me, like, I've been emetophobic since I was a child. I don't remember a time where I wasn't. But it's really interesting because I am 40 years old and I have thrown up on a total of 3 days in my entire life. I did the math the other day. It's like 14,600 days that I've been alive, 3 days that I've been sick. Yet this phobia runs my life. But it's really led me into learning a lot more about things like the central nervous system, like mental health, because it's when you know what you're scared of and when you can reason yourself out of it, but your body still reacts in a way that you are not approving of. It's very interesting because I can sit there all day and be like, I'm not going to be sick. I didn't eat anything bad, or I'm not going to be sick. I didn't do anything that would lead me to be sick. Meanwhile, the central nervous system is like, no, 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 no. You're going to have a panic attack now and there's nothing you can do about it. So it's really fascinating to me. Like the way the body works is fascinating to me.
Oh, I completely agree. And so, like, introspection, you've already done that when it comes to this behavior.
Yeah.
You've already looked into it, right? But, like, I openly encourage community members, other creators, period, to really look into those dark corners that are uncomfortable to look at and be like, why do you do what you do? Because there is a reason. Like, the only thing I ever get, like, angsty about when someone's, like, talking to me about their mental health is I'm like, oh, well, why do you do it? And I go, I don't know. Yeah. Sorry, I almost, are we allowed to curse here?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
I go, yeah, yes, you fucking do. You know why you do it. You just haven't looked, right? You've got the recipe book, but you haven't read the recipe. That's the problem.
Yeah, and sometimes, I think sometimes people might be scared to say why they do it because maybe I don't know, maybe they feel like it's not a good enough reason. Like for me, I'm 99% confident I'm emetophobic because my mom was. So like growing up, I watched her behaviors around it and I learned her behaviors of being very avoidant of it and things like that. So is it a good reason? No. But is it a reason? Yeah. Yeah. It sure is.
And we do that. We pick up the traits of the people who raise us.
For better or for worse.
Better and worse. That's for damn sure. Is there anything that you wanted to pick my brain about in particular?
Oh, Well, I really liked your answer to the first question I had, which I should have prepared more questions about. I don't know. I'm kind of like interested in learning about things just in general. Like, it's really nice to be able to sit down and talk in a place where it's safe to learn, if that makes sense. It was interesting. I saw an interesting question in chat that said, where was it? Let me scroll up a little bit. To ask a non-serious question, what's the mental effects of playing League? And I think that's actually a really, really good question because it's coming from someone who's interested in safety. It's almost the same thing, right? Like you're playing something and if you don't have chat turned off, you're seeing things that people are saying that are absolutely vile. Oh, yeah. And that is going to have an effect on people typically. Like, yeah, people can shrug it off, but for me personally, like I've been told to kill myself and I have cried about it as a grown woman. And it's just like, I think that there's a lot to be said about the effects of, games where people can just kind of like say whatever they want. It's mostly unmoderated because words do carry meaning. Like words do have weight. And yeah, on one hand, there's that saying that like sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Words, as far as I'm concerned, words can absolutely hurt you.
Yeah, real quick, raise a hand by like a 1 in chat if you think you have trauma from a stimuli that was verbal in nature. If you think someone in your past has said something so hurtful to you that it has personally damaged you. Maybe it doesn't still damage you, but it did, at least. And also, it's hilarious that your red big dude priest's question. That's someone from my community.
For me?
Maybe they're here as well. I don't know.
Thank you for the raid. Welcome. We're talking about Psych Talk and mental health. I hope you had a good stream. Welcome on in.
Right now we're talking about the mental effects and wear and tear of being a League player.
It's true. Did they have to have done it intentionally?
No.
I don't think so, no.
Not for the point I'm making, at least. The point being just that words can and do hurt people. I guarantee there are things that I could say to Cammy before she could kill stream that would hurt her feelings.
Oh, it's very easy to hurt my feelings.
So like, and obviously like I'm not just like sitting on like a bank of like, oh, I can't wait to ruin this woman's day. Like that's ridiculous. That's psychotic. But like the point being that you don't need a lot of time or a lot of words to irrevocably change the course of someone's experiences. But I would say League player mental health. It's actually really funny that Big Dude Priest asked that question because I did a psychology lecture yesterday where we talked about eating disorders, and I want to talk more about that lecture later. But I always sort of tease the next lecture at the end of the lecture, and the next lecture we're going to be talking about is psychology of and in video games.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so part of what I wanted to discuss was how a game, especially a competitive or a co-competitive game like League, is so like all of the psychology that goes into it. I think that very plainly, and I'm saying this with my full chest here, there are few places where more people more frequently take like emotional mental damage than the lobby text chat of a team versus team video game.
That is so true. People are so mean.
Well, it's easy, right?
Yeah. There's also not a lot of consequences.
Exactly. And that's the perfect brew to let people be their worst selves. I mean, you literally experience this on a day-to-day basis. I want to go back to the example I made earlier about me saying something on your stream to hurt your feelings before you could kill stream, right? There are so many reasons why I will not do that, but I'm going to pull the curtain back Wizard of Oz style and talk about it. Like, I know you. We have met each other. I know that you are a human being. You and I are verbally communicating, and it would make me feel bad to hurt your feelings for the sake of doing so. Right? There's no inherent benefit for me doing so other than to just hurt. You have not particularly wronged me where I feel the need to be avenged in hurting you in return, which, by the way, as a brief aside, is never the right answer. The classic wisdom of eye for an eye runs true here. At the end of the day, the whole world's blind, and that doesn't help anybody. But like, also, if I came onto your stream and showed my ass, there would be social ramifications for that choice. Yeah. But if you and I were just like a bottom lane pair DPS support, and you were playing like trash, and I called you a slur, then the ramifications for that are borderline nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big factor as to why so many people feel emboldened to do so.
Yeah, no, that is 100%. It's like, there's really, when people don't have like a face to them, not even a face to name, but like a person, like when they don't realize that you're a person sometimes, which sounds really weird to say because everyone's a person, but when there's that disconnect, it's a lot easier to say things that are hurtful because you don't think, I guess what the logic is they don't think that they're actually hurting a real living human being. They're taking out their frustrations on a punching bag, essentially.
Yeah. Well, it's centrally focused, right? They're doing stuff for the sake of themselves with no consideration for the cost of that action.
Yeah. Which I wish more people had consideration for those actions.
Well, I don't want to get political in terms of the streaming space, but it does really boil my blood. I was actually talking to a buddy of mine about this the other day. It really does boil my blood when I see people who I know are hurt people, you know, they have their trauma, they have their turmoil that they're working through, and then they go on the internet and they treat other people horridly. And it's like, brother, sister, whoever else, like, you know the kind of pain that your actions are causing other people. You've experienced these pains yourself. Why would you intentionally go out there and know that what you're doing is purely just going to hurt others?
Yes. And that's something that I've noticed a lot, that a lot of people, and like, again, I'm going to try to figure out the right way to say this because I've seen a lot of people say, well, I did this because of trauma, or I did this because I have PTSD. I also have PTSD, and like, I get it. Sometimes you want to lash out, and I understand that. Those things are definitely a reason. They are not an excuse. Like, you can say that that is the reason that you did something. You can use that as, like, this is my learned behavior, but it's not, in the end, it's not an excuse for the behavior that you're doing. So it's tough sometimes. Like, that's a tough thing to know is, like, I can't think of a really good example, but, like, someone might hurt someone because they've been hurt. That is the reason they're doing it, but it's not an excuse for doing it. And
I completely agree.
It's really tough sometimes to own up to when you've done something wrong, when you have been hurt, because you know the feeling, like, you know the hurt that goes behind it. And it's really tough. Like, it's really tough to be like, yeah, I wronged someone. This is why, but, like, that's not an excuse. So, yeah, it's interesting how a lot of things can play into it. Past trauma isn't an excuse to spread your trauma onto others. Yeah. But it is oftentimes a vehicle as to why someone might do it or why someone might feel like they have to have that behavior. Again, it's not an excuse, but it does play heavily into how some people treat other people. It's tough. It's really tough.
It can be the source of your behavior, but it is never the reason for it or an excuse for it, right?
Yeah.
Something that I say to a lot of people online, especially, is I work with like autistic middle school kids. Not all of my kids are on the spectrum, but the majority of the students at my school are on the spectrum. And so if I can sit there and watch an autistic 12-year-old boy do something, hurt someone else, like wrong them, and then apologize and own their actions, you can too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hear nothing gets me so angry when someone does something completely fucking abhorrent and they're like, no, it's my tism. And it's like, no, you're letting that be a safety net for an excuse so you can act like a prick.
Yeah.
And that pisses me off because again, I work with kids that are autistic, and it's like, if these kids know that they are dealing with like a filter by which they experience the world through that complicates some things and doesn't complicate and even like helps with others, like if these young minds can comprehend that, then I'm willing to assess that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I find that disgusting behavior.
Yeah, you see that a lot too on like social media sites and things like that, or I hate to even say on like TikTok, like I did this because of this, I did this because of this, and it's like someone brought up a really good point too, that this shit's tough, especially in guy groups, since joking insults are such a thing. And yeah, like that's another big topic that I personally can't speak to because I'm not a man, but like men's mental health I feel like is very overlooked. And a lot of times when I talk to people I know or like men that I know, it's a lot of, when I was growing up I wasn't allowed to cry, or if you cry it's a sign of weakness, and people don't, it almost feels like people, at least in the olden days back then, didn't really seem to care as much about men's mental health, which is wild to me. Because we're all people, like we all like, I feel really bad because I know that's something that holds a lot of people back even now from like being open about feelings or even crying as a man, because there's just this thing around it where you're weak if you do, and that's not the case, chat. By the way, you're not weak if you cry. Like, you're not.
I cry all the time. I want to come back to this. So can we put a pin on it? Because we're about to lose a question in the chat that I definitely want to talk about.
Oh yeah.
When we get back to like the men's mental health, I'm gonna talk about it from the perspective of a cultural psychologist. So just like that's the pin, and we'll come back to it. Liz Top, you asked, I've heard hurt people hurt people. Why is that? The easiest way I can answer that question is, do you, when you're given a math exam, do you answer your math questions with letters? Now, if you want to be snarky and be like, well, in algebra, sometimes we need to use letters for variables, go yourself. You know what I'm asking. Like, people speak in the language they're spoken to. And so if you treat people with pain and you talk to people with violence, that is the language they think they have to respond with. And that's not necessarily true. There's a lot of things that a lot of the students in my school struggle with. Like there's a lot of kids in my school that are completely nonverbal. And so they will hit to communicate. Obviously, the the attending like behavioral assistants are not are not trained to punch the kid back, that's not going to teach them anything, right? Above and beyond being a crime. But like also like that's not how you communicate with them. You're helping them learn how to communicate. And so hurt people because, or sorry, I'll say hurt people when they refuse to use other languages. Now that can be either refusal through ignorance, they don't know how to. This is particularly prevalent in like children, where like we see young kids who are beaten, which is horrible, obviously, but kids that are like beaten or verbally abused, they then in turn beat or verbally abuse the people around them because that's the language that they know from their life on how to this is how I communicate with people. My dad hits me, I hit my friends. That's how they show love, right? Wrong, obviously, but like that's how their brain interprets their stimuli and how they in turn address their environment. And so a big thing that we all are responsible for, sorry by the way about this, all of us are responsible. If you see someone communicating in a maladaptive fashion with themselves or the people around them, it is in part your responsibility as a member of society to help them understand how to communicate in turn. Easier example with a lot less violence in it. If you are standing in line at a coffee shop, maybe the people that are working there speak Spanish and you are in what is otherwise a English speaking area, but let's say Cammie and I are in line, right? I'm in line and Cammie, you happen to speak some Spanish, right? I'm like at the front and I'm like really struggling to order my fucking coffee. You can step up and be like, oh, this is what he's saying, and then say it in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to hurt anybody, but all I know is how to speak English, and you're helping me speak Spanish, which is the language I need to be speaking right now.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with hurting people. If all people know is how to hurt others, it's our responsibility as a collective, as a species even, to help them understand how to not hurt people, but communicate that they are hurt.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. YouTube chat mentions that your trauma isn't your fault, but healing is your responsibility, which, again, is true. Tough, though. Like, I get it. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. Like, I want to make it very clear that, at least for me, when I'm saying, like, it's a reason, it's not an excuse, I get it that it's still hard. Like, I'm not saying by any means that it's easy to not let your traumas affect how you act towards people. Because it's not easy. And I don't want to like make light or try to like, I don't want people to think that I'm saying that it's easy when it's not. Because it's not. And someone else says, you know, traumas make you act in certain ways, but those ways don't help you heal. You keep picking at your wounds and scabs and it's unhealthy, which is also true. But it's also a really tough habit to break. And it's like, it's a learned behavior, right? Like, again, you speak the language that you were spoken to. And it might not be the language that is correct. And it's hard to break free of that if that's all you know. So I want to make it clear that, like, yes, while I'm saying that it's not an excuse, I get that it's not as easy always as just saying, okay, well, I'm not going to, I'm not going to behave in this way anymore. Because that's learned behaviors that could be imprinted on you for years, decades, your life. Like, it's definitely not easy. So I just want to make sure that people know that, like, I do not think that that is an easy thing.
No. But something that I like to say when it comes to the process of healing is no dwarf ever climbed a mountain without putting one foot in front of the other. It sucks. The first steps sometimes are really easy. You're not going up much of a grade. There's not a lot of hazardous weather going on. But as you get higher and higher and higher on that mountain, sometimes the winds kick up. Sometimes there's snow. Sometimes there's fauna or flora in your way. But you still need to go to the peak. Just as much when you're working through your own psychology, you're working through your own behaviors and changing how you conduct yourself in life. It can get hard, but that doesn't mean that it's not worth doing it. A cute little anecdote I like to throw out there is you are the forever project.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, cycle bomber. Sometimes you need a Sherpa to climb that mountain.
Yeah.
Right? Professional competent help. That's a Sherpa, baby.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
I did think of something that I did want to bring up that I thought would be interesting to talk about.
Okay.
But I do want to clarify before saying anything, and I think you're going to know exactly where I'm going with this when I make this disclaimer to chat. Chat, if you use these terms, I am not calling you out. I am not saying that you are a bad person. I would like to explain why I don't. And I think it would be nice to have...
Sorry.
I won't, but he might. So chat, you might have noticed that while I am a character that is portrayed in a straitjacket, I do not use the terms crazy or insane. I do not market myself as crazy or insane, and that is incredibly intentional. I do a lot of work with Games Done Quick. And Games Done Quick works with charities like Doctors Without Borders and Prevent Cancer Foundation.
Go!
Yeah, they do a lot of really good work. And one of the things that you're taught when you host, and one of the things that I didn't even know before I started hosting for them, is that words like crazy and insane are hurtful. And I never understood why, or didn't even realize that until having that talk and them saying, hey, try not to use these. Because a lot of times when speedrunners like get a move, they'll be like, oh my God, that was insane. And I know that they don't mean anything by it, but those are words that can be very hurtful. So I wanted to bring it up with you to kind of see if we can explain it, or if you can explain it, because I know I'd be very bad at explaining it. But, that is something that I am very deliberate at. I try not to use those words at all. And it's because they can be very hurtful words. And again, I'm not here to yell at any of my chat. That's not my job. But that's his job. But
Sorry.
But I think it would be nice to have like a kind of deeper look into why those words are hurtful, more so than just me being like, I was told not to say them and I understand, because that's as far as it goes. Like, I was told not to say them and I understand why, but I couldn't really like explain it well.
I mean, yeah, there's two ways I can explain this. I'm going to go with one. Yeah, exactly, Kira. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Also, hi, Kira.
So, okay. I'm going to use a term that a lot of people in the streaming space will be familiar with. We're going to talk about imposter syndrome.
Oh, buddy.
So, in the field, we don't actually call it that anymore. We call it imposter phenomenon.
Interesting.
Because the term syndrome has baggage. In the same way, the words insane or crazy are not inherently harmful, but they have baggage, right? Is it... Hold on, I'm going to DM you something really quick.
Yeah. Gosh, I keep seeing that bread and I need the recipe written down so I can remember it. Because I really need to make it. Over the past year, I can't tell you how many people I've met who brought... Yeah, it's really interesting because I don't think Yes. Because I understand why you're doing it.
Yeah, cool. All right, so in the instance that I was just talking about, crazy and insane are not inherently harmful terminologies, but they have baggage, right? And especially as someone like Cami is speaking to a uncontrollably large population audience, you need to make sure you're filtering yourself, right? The analogy I like to use is we often will say things like, oh, I talk like a sailor, as a shorthand for, excuse me, gross, for cursing a lot, right? Because sailors out on a boat for 6 months at a time back in the age of sail, they probably said every single thing under the sun just to keep themselves a little bit less, tilted from their experiences on being on a boat for 6 months. But then they come to port and they're in society again. And so they don't curse and swear as much as they might on the boat. And then some of the crew has to go to the mayor's house and talk to the mayor, or they have to go to a business meeting about what they're carrying from place to place, right? And so in those instances, it's the same sailors, but they are using professional language. So it's just as Cami goes on to, speak and be a presenter at Games Done Quick, she has to put up her top button. She has to, use her nicest fineries in terms of words. But, when she gets away from the camera, puts her sweatpants on and picks her nose because no one's around, she might use those more lax terminology because we use terms that are more appropriate for different social circumstances. It's just different vocabularies. But the thing I DM'd her about, and I want to be open about this, is terms like crazy and insane have baggage. They are not inherently harmful terms. However, the word retarded is an inherently harmful word. And I've used this word very rarely, especially on my stream. I'll use it to tell the history of the word. So I'm going to use it a couple more times just to let you guys know, to tell you some history, because it's really important to the point that you're asking after. We used to use the word retarded to describe people who were, as we at that time in the field called slow. Now, if I love entomology, I love breaking words down, I love understanding where they come from, right? The word retarded is to be slow arrival, right? If you've ever heard someone called tardy when they're late to class,
I never put those two together.
It is because you are slow to the class. You're being tardy. And so when the word retarded means that they are slow. But we don't use that term anymore, and there's a very big reason why. Not only is it obviously a term that is used to be hurtful to people with mental, cognitive, diagnoses, it's also inaccurate. We used to use this term as a bit of a blanket for anybody who we would now know is probably autistic. But as our understanding of autism and other cognitive, diagnoses has matured and we understand it better, you would only ever use that word to describe someone who has a processing delay, right? And even then, that's not accurate, right? And so it's both harmful because of its previous usage as a bit of a damning word for people, but also it's actually just not an accurate term to use for people. So if I work with a kid and I say, what's 5 + 5? That kid is going to know that answer right away. But it takes him an extra 3 seconds to process stimuli when he's focusing on it. And so I could say, what's 5 + 5? And everybody's going to say 10. But for this kid, there's that 1, 2, 3. And that's when his brain gets the information. And he's immediately going to go, 10. So that's why we don't use that term anymore. That's why you are prepped to not use terminology like insane or crazy. Because even though, there's varying degrees of severity, there's different reasons why certain terms fall out of fashion or are a faux pas, and they have different levels of damage. Just like how in TTRPGs, a battle axe does 1d12, whereas a dagger does 1d4. They both deal damage. They can both hurt somebody, but they hurt people more sometimes.
Yeah, it's interesting about words too, because there's also the whole reclamation of words and things like that, which is a whole thing in and of itself. And I'm trying to think of the best way I can word this. Is there's certain words that you're not supposed to use that have been reclaimed, that some people use amongst themselves, and that is one of them. Some people self-identify, and I'm never going to be mad at someone using it in a way against themselves that isn't derogatory, but it's one of those things where that's still not for me to say. That's not, and it's also something that you still have to be careful about when you say it. So for example, in trust and safety, we allow some words when people are self-identifying as them. An example of this would be in the LGBTQ community, which I am a part of, sometimes some of us will say the F slur. Now, that is not to be derogatory, but is a word that carries a lot of weight and can be very hurtful to people. So we allow people to say it to each other, but we wouldn't allow someone to put it in their username, because that is going to prompt other people to say it, and it's going to prompt people to say it that perhaps don't have the same outlook on it or aren't using it in the same way. So words are interesting. Words are really interesting.
Absolutely. Oh, I just cracked my neck. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I wanted to come back to the men's mental health point. So again, I consider myself a cultural psychologist. And what that means is when I approach concepts of psychology, I always look at them first through a filter of culture. And so when we talk about men's mental health, my first thing that I always go to is I want to know more about the demographic information of the family.
Mm.
Because what you can find is, and what we have found is more matron led homes in certain cultures will encourage crying more often.
Really?
Or encourage all of their children to be more open with their feelings. Like for example, what's the one that I was looking at? Like Italian families that are more matronly ran. So like the mom is the big authority in that family. We see an increased percentage of people who report that they were encouraged to feel their feelings out loud. Whereas if you have like different cultures and different setups in their families, you'll see these are the households that have a higher rate of like suppression, especially for boys. And a lot of that has to do with the culture of the country that they're in as well, and that can cause a big shift. So I not obviously excusing that boys are so frequently suppressed in terms of expressing themselves, but your circumstances have a major factor in how that conducts itself.
That's interesting. I never really would have I guess I never would have really researched the difference between different like cultures and matron versus patron led households, but that's really interesting to know that there's a difference there.
And crazy enough, it's like in certain cultures it's flipped. And obviously there's generations where it can flip.
Yeah.
So it's and then of course there's the random like, you know, your dad turned out that he's, you know, has a particular profession and really is in touch with his emotions and wants his kids to be too, kind of thing. Like these things obviously happen in every variation, but
yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, psych is fascinating to me as a whole. Actually, there was a point in time when I was in college that I was going to like go into more classes about psych, but I ended up going towards elementary education with an emphasis on music instead.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a small period of time where I was very, very interested in psych, and I kind of wish I had stuck with it and kept going for it, because it's really fascinating. Like the human brain is wild to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps explain the behavior, but doesn't. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My wife is listening and is bothering me in DMs. I said etymology wrong. I said entomology, which is the study of insects, not the study of the origin of words.
I never would have noticed.
Sorry.
Can't believe you've done this.
I promise you that I will be one of your pallbearers, so that when you die, I will let you down one last time.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
You're so welcome.
Welcome to the asylum.
Thank you. But yeah, chat, is there anything that you want to know more about or that you're very interested in? Like
Yeah,
that was a big one for me, because like it was like growing up. I mean, you never, when you're a kid, you don't think about things like that. Like someone does a sick trick on a skateboard and that's crazy. Like and you don't mean it in a bad way towards like what history it might have. So that's one that's been very interested to me. I messaged him too. I too love bugs.
That's my wife. I love her.
Aww.
Yeah, I mean, at some point in the ancient histories, as a young boy, I relate to that topic very strongly. My parents divorced when I was rather young. My mom got the children, which was the cultural norm at the time. And and I was raised by women. She raised me, my sister, and then later on in our adolescence, we received one of my cousins, and so it was 3 women in the house, and I was the only guy in the house. And so I get it, and I was very much encouraged by my mother to feel my feelings and to express myself and to not hold things in and put them down. And after some stuff that's probably too heavy to talk about on stream out of nowhere, my father became the same way. So, you know, people can turn. It's a wild ride out there, and no one story is exactly the same.
Yeah. I'm interested in learning about therapy. I recently had attempted going into therapy to address my own issues, but didn't find it particularly helpful. In Abnormal Psych, I learned about different therapy approaches and recognized the school my own therapist was utilizing. My question is, how can you tell what kind of therapy is suited to you? Because I'm honest with my psychologist, but I feel like I didn't get far. That is such an interesting question, because there's CBT, there's EMDR, there's so many different types of therapy. That's a really good question. I'm curious too, because frankly, I wouldn't have any idea how to know which one was best suited for me. So yeah, that's a good question. There are so many different types of therapy. Is there even a way of knowing which one's best suited for you, or how do you even find that like method that works for you?
Honestly, and this is gonna sound kind of crazy. Oh, there I go. So there is. I'm a very firm believer that the relationship between a client and their professional is a very moldable thing. I think that the misunderstanding that is quite rampant is you go to your doctor and you sit on the table and they give you a little checkout, they give you some questions, and then they give you a slap on the ass and say, go ahead, I'll see you in 6 months. And so people think that it might be like that with mental health professionals. And I am a very firm believer that it shouldn't be. You know, sure, you're still going to find some of the old heads who, you know, pencil you in for once a week. You go into the room and they say, lie down on the couch and tell me what that means, right? Like, you're going to get those old traditional approaches where they really just want to talk at you and talk with you. But I think having an active role I say client cyclobomber, but patient is just as apt of a term. I just like the term client. It's more broad. It fits more circumstances, but you can really interchange them. Legendary Count, I cannot believe you came all the way over here to bother me. It's nice to see you, buddy. The man who officiated my wedding, ladies and gentlemen. So something that I do openly encourage people to do is to be like, let's say you're working through your PTSD, right? With your professional, and you and them are on the same page, and you decide the next couple of months are going to be focused on, you know, working on your trauma, on your PTSD. Then you go home and you're like, I wonder if there's any known methodologies that are effective for PTSD. And you come back and you're like, oh, I heard that this ABC therapy is really good for that. And they go, oh, what's ABC therapy? Or they go, oh, I know ABC therapy. Like, you're kind of going in and being like, I need your finest potion seller. And you need to tell them what potions you need. But they might know based off of what you describe. Oh, they're like, oh, I have the perfect potion for that. But sometimes you need to prompt them with like, oh, I heard this potion would be really helpful for this particular problem. They go, oh, I don't know how to brew that potion. Let me look into it. And the next session, or maybe 2 sessions later, they're like, oh, I did some preliminary research on that potion that you wanted. I learned how to make it. Let's give it a try. And then you try that for a couple of sessions and see if it hooks you in or not. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Similar to like a general practitioner or a medical doctor who might prescribe you a medicine for a physical like diagnostic problem or diagnosed problem. Mental health is the same way. You kind of got to poke around and see what works and what doesn't work for you, because the in my opinion, the only wrong answer is to approach everyone's mental health with the same like cookie cutter of prompts, because everyone's mental health is different. everyone is affected differently by different methodology, and it's okay to make mistakes in therapy, to be clear. But I think stagnation is the worst way to do therapy. It's the only bad way. It's okay to try new things. It's okay to get frustrated if it doesn't help.
Yeah, it's that's a good point about like sometimes they'll just flat out tell you like this is the type that I think you need, or they'll research it on their own. I know I've had a lot of therapists that I've seen about emetophobia that didn't know what emetophobia was, but then they did some research on the side about it, and they'd either come back and say like, hey, yeah, this is something I think I can help with, or no, I think this is the specialized type you need. And of course that's varied from people to people. Some people will say CBT, some people will say EMDR. It's all over the place. But it's definitely interesting that there are like some types that are specified for some things, and then there's other types that feel like they could go to a bunch of different ways, and it's very interesting. But that's the tough thing about therapists sometimes is sometimes you don't know that you found the right one yet, and it does take a couple sessions. But again, like a good therapist won't let you just stay there and like won't stagnate. Like a good therapist will know when they are able to help, will know when they're not able to help, and will be able to provide you the resources to try to find someone who will.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, every single mental health professional in the field has a demographic of people that they are good with, or several demographics that they're good with, and several demographics that they're not good with. Like, there's obvious examples. I do not speak Russian, so if a Russian mother comes into my office and starts talking to me in Russian, I'm not going to be able to help this lady. That's a pretty obvious example. But I personally have a abhorrently, like, I cannot, no matter the circumstances, I cannot help somebody if they are a pedophile, as an easy example. If that comes out, I cannot separate that person from that part. They deserve help, right? Like let's say someone is a pedophile and they're struggling with a heroin addiction. They deserve help with that heroin addiction, right? And maybe I'm the addiction counselor that works really well with people with heroin addictions. But because of other aspects of their profile, I'm not going to be able to help that person. And I'm going to send them to someone who can, either address that as well or go around it and ignore it while they help them with the heroin addiction. Like, every professional has their lines, and if they say they don't, they're lying because they're greedy. Or they haven't found them yet. That's always a possibility.
No, that's really, really fair. That's really fair. Because there's like, to a lesser degree, when I started in Trust and Safety, they said, hey, what's the one thing that you can't deal with? Like, there has to be something. And at the time, I didn't think there was, which is interesting, because I had been in Trust and Safety for a little while, and there were things, of course, that I do not like. There are things that I hate. Obviously, whenever I see CSAM, I want to curl up and don't exist. But also, I compartmentalize that by saying I'm seeing this so that other children do not have to see it, which is what helps me. But as I've worked the job, I found that it's gore, and there's no shame in there being like something that you can't handle, or and people who have their demographics, someone that they can't help, because you're not going to be helping, like you're not going to be able to help them. Like if I were a professional and I had to help someone and it came out to me that they were a pedophile, because of my, and again, I know a lot of people would have this reaction, but because of my deep-seated like research and everything into CSAM and children's issues and things like that, I would not be able to help them. And again, just like he said, it's not that they do not deserve the help, and maybe they're trying to get better for even that. It's not that they don't deserve to get better, but there is, for me at least, there would be a mental block that would prevent me from giving them the best that I could, because I would have a layer there that wouldn't let me treat them like I would treat other people. Which again, like I want to say in this situation, completely fair, but there might be someone out there that is able to treat them. And it's interesting. And that was a very good question that they asked me in the interview too. And again, at the time I was like, no, I can handle everything, because at the time I was able to. But as you see more, that might change, and that's also okay. Like sometimes you're no longer able to handle things you used to be able to handle, and there's no shame in that. Like there's absolutely no shame in that at all.
The only shame there ever would be is pretending that it doesn't mess you up.
Yeah.
And pushing yourself past what you can handle, and then you burn out prematurely because of it.
Yeah.
That's the only wrong answer, is to pretend like you can handle it when you know you can't. Hilariously enough, one of my lines, spit.
Really?
I hate it. Yep.
That's fair.
In the first month of working at the school that I currently work at, I got smeared with feces.
Oh God.
Kid asked me to help him in the bathroom because he has some medical frailty issues. And so I went in there, and he was upset about what some other staff member had done earlier that day. And he decided he was going to take that on me. And he took a big old handful and got me with it, smeared me all over. And I looked at myself dead in like my like mental mirror, and I said, "Do I quit today?" And I said, "No, I'll be all right." And I, went and got a shower at the school, and then I went home. Like, I told my supervisor, I was like, "Hey, I got smeared. I'm out of here." They're like, "Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Absolutely. Go."
Like I'm done for the day. See ya.
Yep. But like I worked in another classroom to help them out because they were short staffed one day, and one of the kids plays with their spit. And would just sit there and like spit on their desk and play with it and like suck it back up and spit it back out over and over again. And I nearly lost my stomach. And I walked up to the person who was running that room, and I said, "I'm really sorry. I'll ask if someone else can come help. I can't be in this classroom. I'm gonna throw up." And then, they were like, "Yeah, absolutely. Everyone has their line. And sometimes you don't know that it's there until you find it." As you point out.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah, I like on a lesser degree, my thing would be vomit. Like I would not be able to help a kid that was vomiting. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't work with kids who have seizures either, because that often happens with kids with seizures.
Yeah, my best friend, she unfortunately passed away because of it, but had seizures, and that was like something that I really had to work to get over in the event, and like not get over the phobia obviously, but know that I had to accept it in the event that I was with her while she had a seizure, which should happen once. And it was absolutely terrifying for both of us. But no, that's definitely like knowing your limitations and what you can and cannot do is very good, because someone mentioned you want to make sure that if you're helping someone, you're giving them the quality that they do deserve. And sometimes you might not be able to do that, and that's okay. That is okay. Yeah. Like I would not be able to work with someone with cyclic vomiting syndrome. Like I would want them to have someone that could. And that's no fault of mine. And in fact, it's like you said, it's better to admit that you cannot handle something than to try to push through it and give like subpar service, essentially.
Yep, exactly. I want to go back up and chat a little bit. Scullum asked a really, really poignant question, I thought. It says, as someone who professionally listens to others' trauma, what advice would you give to someone who is seen as a person others can dump theirs on? It's not a rule in my chat that you can't trauma dump. It's actually, if we're talking about psychology that day, it's openly encouraged, because everyone there knows that we're going to get into the shit. So sometimes people come in and they're like, "This happened, and I'm really sad, and I need to talk about it." And it's like, "Listen, doc, here's the microphone. We're doing this for the next 10 minutes. Like, let's go. Like, get it out. I'm not your therapist, but like, if you need people to hear you be sad, that is often very therapeutically valuable for people, and I want you to have that." And so the genuine truth is, I relate hearing people's trauma day in, day out, as like getting gently lashed. And that takes a toll. It wears you down. And a big thing for me is transitioning out of work or into work. I get to my work very early. I get to the school about an hour and a half each day before the kids get there. And I use that time to do lesson planning, but primarily I use that time to prep myself to be able to deal with the mental stressors of these children and the staff I work with. And then when the kids leave, I'll hang out there for a little while. I'm supposed to be productive after the kids leave. That's when I'm supposed to be on the clock and do my lesson planning. I watch YouTube videos for an hour before I go home. And then sometimes if I haven't completely transitioned into being out of my job mode by the time I get home, I will sit in my car and watch YouTube videos on my phone for 5 to 15 minutes. And then I go, I'm ready to be home now. And then I go home. It's really important to separate work mode, handling work stresses, and being home, dealing with home stresses. Because when you start to muddle one of those into the other, that's where things get real janky. And you start hurting people that you shouldn't.
Mm. Yeah, that's it's interesting because we used to be on a schedule where we would work 4 10-hour shifts and then have 3 days off specifically to decompress from work.
Mm-hmm.
And then they took that away, which has been awful.
Yeah.
But that was there, and that was the reason for it. It was because and it's 10-hour days were long, and it still sucked. But then you got 3 days to kind of be like, I am not in work mode. I am not dealing anything. Like, I'm not looking at this stuff. I'm not thinking about this. Ideally, not thinking about this stuff. But having that separation is good, and it's tough. It's tough. It's tough to go out of work mode sometimes, especially when you're dealing with heavy shit like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, Cammy and Hora, in one place. I'm really glad that we did this today.
Yeah,
that we
me
got together and made
too.
this happen.
It's been really, really interesting to like learn about, I don't know, I like learning about the history of things, and I like learning about behaviors and things that I might not have thought about before.
Yeah.
Which is always fun for me. I like learning.
Well, Cycle Bomber says it can be very hard when both problems overlap and you cannot separate them. So it's time for me to do one of my favorite things, and that is to use a shed analogy when it comes to mental health.
Ooh.
So I have a shed emote.
Oh?
Because I talk about sheds a lot. Have you ever built a shed, Cammy?
Never in my life.
Okay. Sheds are a really simple structure, but there's a lot of ways to build one. Thanks, Grim. And so we talk about sheds a lot, and I relate them to discussing mental health, right? So in this instance, I would relate it to, let's say you're building a shed, right?
Friends?
And so when you start building a shed, you're fundamentally working with a lot of lumber, generally, and a lot of like big material. Oh, do you want to say out of the raid? I'm sorry.
Hi, Kindred Spirit. Thank you so much for the raid. Big Booba Husbando raid. We're your problem. Big Titty raid. Holy shit. What were you doing over there? Welcome. Hi, everyone. I'm Camisole Corzette. I'm Sock Agency's captive hag. I am 40 years old. That is not a bit. And today we are having a talk about psych and things around different, like, mental health things and trying to make it a more approachable, friendly topic of discussion. So if you have any questions or if you want any, if you have any comments, please feel free to say them. This is a judgment-free zone. We are like, please feel free to ask any questions you want. I understand that there's a huge stigma around things like that. You're not going to find that here because I like to be very open about my issues that I have and hopefully make it a little more approachable for other people. Thank you for the follows. I hope you had a really good time. I hope you had a good stream. But yeah, we're having a really good time over here today. So again, if you have to raid and run, please feel free. Get a drink if you're here and you want to hang out. Also feel free. I hope you have a good time. And again, we are just trying to make this a very approachable subject for something that sometimes feels a little unapproachable.
Absolutely. And right now I'm explaining how transitioning between work stress and coming home is kind of like building a shed. Because when you're building a shed, you start with the framework. And let's assume you're using wood for this. So you're going to need your bonding tool, bonding hardware, whether that's nails. I recommend nails for larger lumbers, but whether that's nails or screws or whatever else. But then eventually you have the framework of the shed built, and you don't need the same tool belt anymore because you're not working with the same materials. You're going to start to use smaller screws to bond smaller pieces together. You're not going to use the same drill for that. You're not going to use the same hammer or the same hardware like screws or nails. You use like a good 3-inch screw when you're bonding 2 2x4s together, but you wouldn't use a 3-inch screw to bond, 2 pieces of sheet metal for shelving, for example. You're going to swap over. So just as the same with that, the same as coming home from your work stress. You're going to leave your work tool belt at work, and you're going to put your home tool belt when you're at home because you're working on a different thing.
I was worried
It's
you were
kinda
going to
like
ask
building a
me if I thought I could build a shed, because I'd be like, hell yeah. And then you'd be like, okay, what tools would you use? And I'd be like, I don't know, wood and screws, and that's
Hey,
it.
that'll do it. that will do it. I highly recommend, by the way, at some point in your life, you said you're 40, like I recommend at some point building a shed.
I kind of
You
would
learn
like
a
to
lot
build a
about yourself
shed.
building a shed.
I think it would be fun to build a shed. Would it be the best shed?
It's not required.
But would it be a shed? Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, build a shed, guys. I recommend building a shed.
Build a shed. Do it. I dare you. I dare you to build a shed.
And then post pictures of the shed you built.
Yeah. I kind of want to build like a tiny shed, right? Like get little wood. I don't know what I don't know if they sell little wood. Like build a miniature shed.
Yeah.
I like building sheds. Hell yeah. Let's go.
Snar asks, I've been having trouble accepting that I don't feel sexual or romantic attraction. Yeah, man, ace people exist. It's very real. The way I like to talk about asexuality or aromanticism is think about it like this. The world is full of stimuli, and we spend our entire life attracted or repulsed by those stimuli. I like food. Some people do not like food. I will eat food when I have the chance to eat food. And some people will eat food because it's fuel, so they don't die. Some people like having sex. Some people don't like having sex, and that doesn't make them good or bad people for that.
Yeah.
Does helping my dad build a shed count? Absolutely.
Ooh, 100%. You can buy small planks if you want a small shed, or you can sell longer planks in too. Just remember to sandpaper the edges. Oh gosh. Me before I get finger splinters. That's what the word is, splinters.
Yeah, and you'll learn.
Yeah. Yeah, I get, because if I did that, I'd be like, well, I probably should have done something to prevent that.
Yeah. What did I do that let that happen?
Yeah, that's a really good analogy. Else you get splinters and it sucks. Yeah. No one wants splinters.
Hey, that wood's got to have a home. The tree got chopped down, so you're good enough.
Is true. The wood is now embedded into my finger, which is unfortunate.
Welcome to the asylum. Character.
Thank you for the follow.
Okay, that's a shed. Cyclobomber, that you just cracked open the analogy wide open. That's a shed, man.
Yeah. Customizing arcade sticks is fun too. That always seemed like a really good time. Whose channel is this? This is my channel. Hi, hello. I'm Camisol.
I like being the D&D doctor. I'm just a dwarf, man.
I do like that you're the D&D doctor. I also really like D&D.
Yeah, TTRPGs are great.
Yeah, they're really good.
I actually, so I teach social skills. It's one of the few classes that I teach my students. Because my role in the classroom is primarily mental health. So I mainly am doing like behavioral assistance, emotional processing, stuff like that. But I do teach social skills. And one of the classes each week of social skills is just we play D&D.
Really? That's really cool.
Yeah, kids love it.
D&D is great. Longest friendships I have are TTRPG groups. I love that. I love that.
Absolutely.
I've been in mine for, gosh, I think it's like 3 years now.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, Hellenic Shum, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. I accidentally have my OBS up.
No, it's good. It's good.
So, I'm trying to think if there's anything that we left, any pins we need to come back to.
We came back to the men's mental health pin.
Yeah.
Which is good. We touched on terminology, which is good because that was something that I have been wanting to explain to my chat for a while. I've briefly mentioned it to them, but I never really had the right words to explain why. So I really liked the going into that.
How do I provide emotional support to someone I know is in the wrong? So that's a fantastic question.
That's a really good question.
The answer is you do. The long answer is you let them talk, and so your role, right? And this is like, if I'm in any conversation with my friends, I'll get a temperature check and be like, hey, real quick, are we processing? Are we venting? Or are we trying to vent? Sorry, vent, process, or problem solve, right? So sometimes people just want to vent, and that's all you need to do. You just need to like ask them very simple, short questions to keep them talking about it, and they are, whether or not they recognize it, they're processing what they're talking about as they're talking about it. And then if they're looking to process, then you like go, okay, let's break down the order of operations. What happened? What were you doing? What were they doing? And why do you think what you did, encourage them to do that, and back and forth, right? And then if they want to problem solve, you go, okay, so like, this is what happened. We can agree that you probably were the inciting incident, or you were at fault here. What can we do in the future if we're in a similar situation to prevent the same circumstances? Because that, at the end of the day, is the idea, right? Is to find out how to do it different next time, because you can't undo what's already happened.
I like asking, like flat out being like, hey, do you want to work through this? Do you want to explore this? Or do you just want to vent?
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Because then both you and the person knows what's going on, right? Because like, and it can be helpful for them, because like sometimes like you just start bitching about something, and even you don't know what your objective is in that conversation, and just sort of like hitting the pause button and say, hey, what's our objective here? Oh, it's this. Cool, carry on, right? And even if they say that they want to just vent, and you're like, no, I really think you should be processing this, or you really should be that doesn't matter. What they need is what they need right now. And either you are or you're not available for that.
So kind of like a similar idea, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to word this, is how do you go about supporting someone that is upset about something and complaining about maybe something that happened to them, but they are in turn wronging someone else in doing so? Like, how do you support them without supporting the negative belief they're trying to push on someone else?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, so like I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to make up a fake example about this. Say I was having an issue with a friend, and that friend didn't do anything wrong. Say like they might have said something that hurt me, but and ultimately they didn't do anything wrong. But the narrative that I'm trying to push is they're an awful person. I can't believe they do this. They really are, they're slimy, they're malicious, et cetera, et cetera. How do you support the person and make them feel like, I understand that you're going through this, without reinforcing the idea that the person is actually bad and that they should be like...
You know Kung Fu Panda 2?
I actually haven't seen that.
Okay, that's crazy. You need to fix that. Have people in chat, have you guys seen Kung Fu Panda 2? Because I'm gonna make a statement that includes aspects of that movie. No. Okay. The short version is, there's the MacGuffin of the story is a big like single attack, right? And the way Po the Kung Fu Panda deals with that at the end is that he uses like Aikido practices where he receives the blow, but then like deflects its momentum and slows it down by like twirling it, right? You do that with that person's emotions. You receive them, and then you sort of let them sort of burn up all of that extra heat that they have by letting them get it out. And then when they're exhausted with that and they feel like they've gotten it out, you then set it down and go, okay, let's talk about it. And then, so like you receive them, you let them get out what they have to say, and then you go, okay, now it's time for us to address your role. You'd never want to accuse. You need to guide them to the conclusion you've already come to. And you can't do that by pointing at the sign that says you're a fucking asshole. No one is going to be receptive to that.
Mm-mm.
You have to help them find the path and help them want to look up and read the sign that says you're an asshole.
Yeah, that's good. Because, like, I was just thinking about that, how, like, if someone's complaining and being like, oh, this person was awful, and you're like, yeah, man, I can't believe they did that. And you might not even believe that that person did anything wrong, but by saying, yeah, man, I can't believe they did that, you're reinforcing that that person did, in fact, do something bad, which could be hurtful. Like, you know, if the conversation never got out, you suddenly you are a part of something that you were trying to comfort someone, but now you're a part of something where they were tearing down someone else. And it's like, how do you go about comforting someone without tearing down? It's an interesting thing. Now I have to watch Kung Fu Panda, is what I've learned.
It's so good. It's
That's what I've learned.
Good trio of movies. Holy cow. 2 is frankly the peak. 3 is fine, but 2 is the like.
I haven't even seen 1.
Sequel. Get out of here!
I know. There's so many movies I haven't seen. It's actually wild.
That's crazy. So that's great advice. Actually, I wish I was good enough of a talker for that. You don't have to be good at talking. I talk for a living, but you don't have to be good at talking. Like, you can just have someone and they can say something like, yeah, I'm not, I'm really mad and they're this, they're that. I can't believe they did that to me. I just was trying to do this. And it's like, okay, but like, what did you do? When they finally calm down, you put the ball in their hands and say, okay, but like, what were you doing? Or like, okay, so like, what was your role in that situation? And you make them you have them say it. Because if you tell them what their role was, you run the risk of them getting defensive. Now, pointed out by Tenebrous Tack, like, if you're close enough with someone and you have like the rapport to put your hand on their chest and be like, hey, you're being a dick. Like, then you can do that, right? But if you don't know them like that, or if they're not receptive to that approach, then you got to ease them into their own discovery.
Being a good talker isn't the same as asking the relevant questions. You don't need an extended expose lecture to convince someone.
Yeah. And it can even be simple, like but why?
I like that. It's just like, why? Help me understand.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do. Is to say, I don't get it. Like to play yourself as a fool and make them explain. Right? The point is you make them talk. You make them come to the conclusion you already have. Because, like, I don't know. You scary? We'll note that. Yeah, no, it is scary. It is scary to say that you're stupid. I'm a big fan. Actually, I'm going to ask you guys in chat, what is something that you know nothing about?
Sports.
Sports? Yeah.
Literally nothing.
I don't know anything about astrophysics.
Oh gosh, same.
I don't know nothing about that. Makeup, yeah.
Oh gosh, actually, same.
I forgot to change that reactive.
I keep missing it whenever it happens. Antenna maintenance, good gardening. I pretend I know about gardening, but I don't. Engineering. Ooh, that's a good one. I know nothing about engineering.
Yeah, and it's okay to not know these things, right?
Yeah. It's also okay, like, for the record, it's okay to not want to know about some things. Like, I don't know anything about sports, and frankly, I don't care. Like,
I say this all of the time. I stream. I am a VTuber, unfortunately. I don't know nothing about drawing, nothing. And I don't know nothing about editing anything.
Oh gosh, same.
So I don't. and I know that I could. I know that if I've watched friends of mine, I have a friend, her name is Myra Morris, and 2.5 years ago, she picked up the pen and started drawing. And she went from like a passing acceptable artist to a genuinely incredible one. It took time, and she like didn't want to have to do it, but she didn't want to have to pay for art. So she got good at doing art because it was, a financial incentivization for her. And so I know that I could get good at art if I wanted to. I could put in the effort. I could put in the time. I could pick up the pen. I don't want to. It takes too much time, and I'd rather just pay someone. And so I do.
Yeah, you don't have
You
to
know
learn
Myra
everything.
No.
Mm-mm.
I can code, but I can't draw. Yeah.
I don't want to know anything about how meat products are made. Willful ignorance. That's
We
fair.
do have a phrase for that. We do have a phrase for how the sausage is made. Is it just me, or is being interested in sports becoming odd hobby? That might be the case in your like area or your social circles or social spaces, but I guarantee you in other parts of the world, being a sports fan is as normal as it can be and normal as it has been. I assure you, as long as there are 5 people on this planet, one person to punch another person in the face and one person to collect bets from the other 2, there will be people who want to watch sports. I promise you that.
Sports ball.
Mostly football, not hand egg. I love that it's called hand egg.
I love hand egg. Hand egg makes me so
Actually,
happy. That term makes
it's
me
very
so
fun.
happy.
I like it a lot. Oh,
Oh,
talking about eggs.
thanks, chat. Thank you. Thank you for that, chat. Thank you. You're the best. Thank you.
I'm glad I'm really short. I can't see the gleam come from the top.
Chat likes to take off my hair and then give me cat ears. They find it funny.
That's cursed.
It is. It is. It super is. But chat loves it for some reason. Chat, amazing. Chat, you're doing great.
Who doesn't do sports? The rest of my family do, which is golf. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, golf.
Do you know how you can help out Willow the Sinner? By clicking that follow button on this channel if you're not already following.
Golf is something I do want to learn more about and don't know anything about. Mostly I just want to learn how to hit the ball. Because like top golf, very fun. Am I good at it?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not.
I gotta tell you, I think the best people to learn golf from are hobbits. They invented the sport,
Now I just need to meet a hobbit.
Yeah.
I've done mini golf. Mini golf is so fun. I like mini golf. Mini golf is good.
Hell yeah.
And escape rooms, which are nothing like mini golf, but I love escape rooms. Is hobbit
kicking a
How
sport?
dare you?
That's crazy.
Can't believe you'd say that. What the heck? Mini golf is genuinely fun. It is. It's a good time. It gets hot outside is my only downfall. Like I don't like how hot it is. You didn't answer? No, it's not. I guess. I mean, actually, would it be a sport? No. Kicking people can't be a sport. No, I'm executive decisioning that. I'm mad that I had to think about it.
I love that you use executive decision because it is a recurring gag in my relationship with Willow that she'll go before we were married, she would say executive girlfriend decision, and I would say like executive boyfriend decision, this is what we're doing, and now it's changed to executive wife, executive husband decision.
I love that.
very fun.
That's very good.
And it's a very like coy and fun way of saying like, I would like to make this choice and have no pushback about it.
Yeah.
As long as it's not abused, right?
Mm-mm.
Which so far it has not been.
Chat's being sassy. What about MMA? What about kickboxing? Stop it. We can't kick hobbits. Stop it. Oh no.
No.
My OBS studio disconnected for some reason.
Uh-oh.
Oh, and now it's back.
Yay.
Odd. Disconnected and immediately reconnected. Okay. Okay, OBS. I see you.
Okay, we're good. Just a little flicker.
Just a little flicker for some reason.
So, are there any other questions you guys have about psychology or mental health?
Oh gosh, drinking tea made me make the weirdest facial expression. Sorry, I got really distracted by that. That was
I
cursed.
just saw it. That's really funny.
All I did was drink some tea. Yeah, do y'all have any other questions that you would like to bring up? I was going to say answered, but I can't promise that there's always an answer, so.
Oh, there'll be an answer. It might be underwhelming, though.
There'll be an attempt at an answer?
Yeah.
Maybe an answer.
If in the absence of, I can go back to something that I pinned earlier, which is talking about eating disorders.
Yeah, I forgot that you did pin that. Yes.
I talked about eating disorders. So I do a monthly lecture over on my channel. And just yesterday I did the lecture on eating disorders. So we talked about we talked like what is an eating disorder. My quick question for you guys: do you guys know what constitutes something being called a disorder or not?
No.
It makes a lot of sense when you look at it, when you look at the words a little bit. But if you don't think about it, it's pretty easy to not get it.
Out of order?
Okay. Yeah. That's a big part. It affects your life negatively. Okay, you're on the right track, Liz Top. The big thing about whether or not something is a disorder or not is if it causes a dysfunction in your day-to-day life or is chronically prevalent in your life. So let's talk about the phobia you mentioned earlier, right? The fear you have about vomiting.
Yeah.
And nausea. Would you say that it impacts your day-to-day life to a degree that causes like notable dysfunction?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. So were this not a phobia that was already being addressed in other ways, we could constitute that might be a disorder because it is altering your life's like fulfillment and function in a prevalent way regularly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mess with your daily activities. Yeah, messes with it in a pronounced way, right? Like there's excessive compulsive disorder, right? Is a pretty popular one to look at. A really sort of clowned on presentation of that is when people like have to lock their door 3 times. Y'all ever heard of that? Or like having to do a relatively simple thing repeatedly? That probably doesn't disrupt their daily life that much. Realistically, it does, but not like that much, right? An extra 5 seconds in the morning, an extra, you click the fob for your car an extra time. Like that's not really burning up your daylight, right? But we talk about like things that are like prominent, right? Like let's say if you have an aspect of your compulsion that says I have to approach my house in the evening from the west. I have to. If I don't approach my house from the west, it's going to be a bad day. And so even though approaching your house from the east is faster, you will go like 5 to 10 minutes out of your way to approach your house from the west. That is what we're talking about. These like substantial time sinks, alterations to your daily functioning. This is where something becomes what we call a disorder. It's causing disorder in your life. So going back to eating disorders, right? Like if you're a picky eater and like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. That's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about instances in situations that have a prevalent impact on your life when it comes to eating. So we have like we talked about anorexia nervosa, we talked about binge eating disorder, we talked about bulimia nervosa, we talked about avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, we talked about we talked about pica, which is like a pretty rare thing, but a lot of people know about it for some reason. And then this one, I'm excited to see if anybody knows about this one. Does anybody, without looking it up, know what rumination syndrome is?
Is that when you? I almost said when you ruminate on something. I'm.
Well, you're closer to correct than you might think. Isn't pica neurological? It's a lot. It's a lot of things, but yeah. Never saw that learning abnormal psych? Of course you haven't. Why would anybody waste time teaching you about rumination syndrome? It is laughably underreported. I'm pretty sure it involves anime girls in kaukinis. That is correct because I used an image of my friend in a kaukini for that slide.
Oh.
I'm going to show you that slide in our DMs.
Oh, please do.
So rumination syndrome, and you can even show this with the class if you'd like. That's up to you.
Oh, I will. Now that I know it's okay, I will.
So rumination syndrome is a eating disorder where a person literally displays a variation of the ruminant animal behavior of ruminating their food. Oh, actually, that's a good point, Count. I'm so sorry. This might actually be triggering for you. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I think I'll be okay. I think I should be okay. I'll let you know if I'm not.
Okay. I apologize.
No. I appreciate it. Chad, I appreciate you looking out for me.
Yeah, they swallow their food and then they regurgitate it back up and chew on it.
Oh, I hate that actually. Yeah, I do hate that.
My bad.
No, it's okay. I didn't even know that was something that existed. So it's nice to know that, like, it's still nice to learn that this is a thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's again, incredibly underreported and probably even less occurring. But yeah. Well, yeah, ruminant, like animals, Mario, do have to do it. Humans do not. But sometimes, very rarely, a human will do that.
Huh. That is very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have never heard of that before.
Yeah, cows do it. There's a whole section of animals called ruminants that literally have to do that to process the things that they eat. But humans do not need to do that. Our digestive systems do not require that process and therefore do not. What leads to that behavior? The short answer, who fucking knows? The long answer is there are some of the studies done on rumination syndrome are that this is more common in infants and young children who have perhaps like not fully formed muscular systems in their esophagus. Like for those who may not know, in your esophagus, there's a flap that basically is like it goes into the lungs or it goes into your stomach. And what we have documented is that some children who have not properly or fully developed that flap and the muscular system around it will, like, the food goes two ways because of that flap not doing its job, basically. And then when it becomes practiced behavior, they just continue to do it because they, again, going back to why hurt people, it's the language that they know. It becomes a norm for them, even if it is, inherently not the norm.
Huh. Yeah, I had never heard of that before.
Yep, it's wild. It's a learned habit rather than a trauma response. Well, I'm gonna okay, so it's a very real thing in my profession that I am of a firm believer that you should never use the word never or always, or you should always never say these words unless you're talking about this sentence right now. I don't think that there is a always or a never when it comes to psychology, when it comes to why things happen or where they come from. So talking about is there a reason in your opinion why it's underreported? Well, because it's not a very visible behavior. The amount of intimacy you would need to get with somebody to see them doing this is really high. There's also shame. People might not want to report it because of the shame factor. There's a lot of reasons. Also, it's just very rare. It's also just very, very, very rare. It sounded like a learned habit. I'm not expanding on. No. You're good. You're good. Some kind of weird avatism. Maybe. I don't know. So I think some people would chew. Some people over chew plant matter, like turning mustard greens into cud. Yeah, basically. I mean, I don't. We're leaving my realm of understanding. I'll be honest.
I think it got buried earlier. I had some severe depression earlier in life that I didn't even recognize as such. Hallmarks were missing, like low energy, sadness, etc. How would you think you could help people even see that they need help to begin with, especially if they're apathetic to their own well-being at that point? Also a good question, because some people don't even realize that they have depression.
Yeah. I think, again, this is tricky because, like, the fun little anecdote we say in my profession is, especially when you're working with people with autism, is when you've met a person with autism, you've met one person with autism, because everyone's autism is a little bit different. Same with depression, same with other mental health disorders and diagnoses. It's everyone's depression has its own flavor. There are some touchstones that most people will experience when they are chronically depressed or have a depression disorder, but everyone's depression's a little bit different, for better and for worse. So what are some flags, right, is I think the heart of your question. What are some flags that you can look for to see, like, how would you figure out that you even need help? Honestly, the easiest thing I can point to is to just be like, hey, if you think your life is, like, unrealistically hard for some reason, it might be. And that might be caused by undiagnosed and untreated mental health disorders. Yeah, that's very real. Another one is, it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be happy, it's okay to be mad. It's not okay to be any one of these things all the time. I think an easy one to point to is, you know how I'm not a big fan of Inside Out, for clarity's sake, but I will use it for an analogy here. If you think one of the emotions from Inside Out is at the helm all of the time, maybe that would be something to look out for.
Someone brought up a really interesting question in a YouTube chat, which I feel like they meant it differently, but I saw it. I was like, oh, no. They said, psychologically speaking, how awesome do you think it would be if we removed Cammy's straitjacket? And to that, I have to say, just you wait. just you wait. TM. Soon, TM. Maybe not soon, but in the works, TM.
I don't know how much I can say.
Eventually, TM.
I wonder if some people just don't know that something is, quotes, wrong with them. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, if it's actually really, really common in people with color blindness, right? Where you can go substantial swaths of your life and not realize that you're colorblind, because to you, green is green. What do you mean green is not green as I perceive it? What do you mean green is like the color of, it's like this, I can't even describe it, right? Because if green looks like green to you, but to other people it looks like a different color, and you've just never, like, had to face that fact, you might not ever realize that you are colorblind. And just as much, if you've never realized that it's probably a little abnormal that you cry for 3 hours a day because of, they got your order wrong at Starbucks. And you just assume everyone else also deals with these minor stressors in the same way. If you don't know that that's abnormal, if you don't know that that's not what life is supposed to be like, then you never think that it's weird.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because some things you might think that everyone experiences, and you don't know that that's not the normal experience, or the quote unquote normal experience. It can be hard to convince someone that reality is not how they see it when they think it's real and it's all they've ever known. Yeah, yeah. If that's someone's reality, that's their reality. Like, how are you to tell someone that, like, no, sorry about it? That's not the everyday experience, because for them it is.
Yeah. I think that the method there is always to approach it as, it's not that your reality is wrong. It's that your reality is, what's the term I want to use here? It's not that your reality is wrong. It's that it could be better.
Mm. Like, you're not doing anything wrong. You're not wrong by this.
Yeah.
But did you know that you can go more than one day without having a panic attack? Did you know that?
It's the realest shit. I highly recommend it.
So weird to me still that that's a possibility.
I believe in a future where Cammy has no panic attacks for weeks on end.
I do too. I remain hopeful to this day.
And that goes back to my little cute, wisdom, dwarf of the lake. What's your wisdom? Like, you are the eternal project.
Yeah. Oh, I really liked that.
Things might suck right now, but that doesn't mean they have to always suck. You're bad at art. That doesn't mean you're always bad at art. If you want to be good at art, you can get good at art. You just got to put in the effort. And maybe you don't even know how to do that, but you can learn. In my experience, dwarves and lakes don't mix well. I do have thalassalophobia.
Oh, the ocean's scary.
So real.
The deep, dark, what's in there? What's in there? What's even in there? I keep wanting to play Subnautica, but I know it would be an amazing time for stream, but it would not be I feel like I would have an okay time until I got into areas where I couldn't see what was out there, and then I would just
That's exactly my version of thalassalophobia. It's not being able to see the extent.
Yeah. Also, right? I like that comment about it's like trying to explain to someone who can't see what the sun is. In a job interview once, someone asked me how I would describe the color yellow to someone who cannot see. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really interesting question to ask someone, because it really and the other one, another really good one that I've heard before is, I don't know how to tie my shoes, explain it to me. And yep. It's like explaining things that you know and you experience that you think are like just so easy, and you could explain it right away. And now you're tasked with explaining it to someone who doesn't know what a shoelace is, who can't see. They don't know what yellow is. Yeah. So I think when I answered the question about the yellow one, I was like, imagine the way your skin feels when the sun hits it. That's how I would explain the color yellow. Because you have to start looking into things that aren't the typical like stimuli for that. Like you can't use sight in that example. You can't say, oh well, if you look at leaves on a tree, because that you can't use that. So it's interesting. Tell me how to make a PB&J. Yeah. Oh, I love that one. I love watching videos about people asking my favorite ones are when teachers take the ingredients for PB&J into their classroom and have their students tell them how to make a PB&J, and then they do it based off of how they explain it to them. And like so many little steps are missed because we know what we're saying. We know how to do it. But like, you'll see people say, okay, well, you take the bread, put the peanut butter, put the jelly on, and then put the bread together. Well, what does that actually mean?
Right. Yeah, I love that. It's actually part why once a month in the classrooms I work in, we do a cooking project every month.
That's really cool.
And generally they're really simple. Really simple. Like for October last year, we did pumpkin pies. I brought in little mini pie crusts, and we all made pumpkin pies for ourselves.
That's amazing. That's adorable. I love little pumpkin pies.
Yeah. And believe it or not, excuse me, we've gotten a lot of bad pumpkin pies.
I am so sure of it.
But, you know, you got to teach these skills. You got to teach what things mean, which might seem obvious, but, you know, you got to remember that we all had to learn that. We didn't come out as my dad as the Forge liked to put it, you didn't come out the puss know how to making lasagna. You got to learn.
What if you did though? Like what if that was your one life skill? You're like a lasagna prodigy. Man, that would be great. Like I don't know how this child learned how to make lasagna, but they sure did. I want some warm apple pie with a scoop of ice cream. Delicious. New isekai idea.
Well, that's one of my favorite isekais I've seen in recent years. Is the guy who goes to another world, but his special skill is that he can open up Amazon and just like instant deliver stuff. I forget what that one's called, but it's like my useless ability or some mess. I don't know.
I learned about an isekai the other day. And I need you to know that I didn't know that it was an isekai when I started reading the like synopsis for this anime.
Marvelous.
But the anime is called Turkey. And I'm trying to find the synopsis that I read because it was basically like it follows someone who's a bowling club captain and she doesn't like care about winning, and one of the people on her team does care about winning. And they like have a battle together, and it's like, oh, you know, if you win, I'll stay on the team, whatever. And then it goes on to be like, and then they're transported to the like Sengoku period. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean this is now an isekai? Like, what did you mean by that? And it was so funny because I did not expect it to take that for a bowling anime to take that turn into like, oh yeah, by the way, we're an isekai. Sorry I didn't add and missed it if we circle back to asexuality, because a lot of people misunderstand that it means I don't want a relationship or sex and I just don't feel the attraction. Yeah, I see that a lot. Like I'm personally not asexual, but I have a lot of friends that are, and I see that a lot, that misunderstanding a lot, where people are like, what do you mean you're asexual? You have a partner. And it is always interesting to see that it's very miscategorized, misrepresented. I feel like a lot of people think that it means that you just are disgusted in general 100% of the time.
But I call that like popcorn psychology, right? Like we used to call it the Rain Man effect, where like if someone heard that someone had OCD, they'd be like, oh, like Rain Man. And like, no.
Or like, oh, like Monk.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, no, that's popcorn. That's popcorn psychology. Like that's the glorified lowest common denominator digestible version, right? Like it's like, oh, I'm neurodivergent. Like, oh yeah, like Sheldon. It's like, go yourself. I have so many feelings about that character. But anyway, you know, it's the common grossly oversimplified understanding of it, right? Because like asexuality, aromantic, on its surface does mean that. But at its core, it is way more complicated than that. And there's so many more factors at play.
Here, go for some popcorn psychology with extra butter and salt.
Krim, that's what we do at my stream every Sunday. You know that.
I want popcorn. I love popcorn.
I have some street corn popcorn in a
What
bag.
does that mean?
And
What does that mean?
street corn?
Yeah, what's that?
So, okay, hold on. I'm going to ask you to just look up a picture of like Mexican street corn.
Okay, doing it. Mexican street corn. Okay, looks delicious. Looks amazing.
Uh-huh.
Is it that just popcorn?
I mean, it's popcorn with the elote spices and seasonings on it.
Oh, that looks really good.
It is.
Oh, that looks so good. Oh my gosh. Well, now I want to try that.
Yeah, if you can find elote, I highly recommend it. Elote fucks.
I feel like where I
Caramel,
am, there's
good.
not a lot of uh, like there's a couple Mexican restaurants. There's not a lot of good Mexican restaurants. I mean,
Mm.
there's a good restaurant, but what we do have a lot of really good around here are Indian food places.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, because I live in like this is again not a secret to my chat. I live in the Triangle, so the Raleigh area, and there's a city nearby that is predominantly Indian population, and the Indian food slaps. It's so good. It's so good. But we also just we don't have a lot of like Mexican street food, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot of really good Indian food. I could smash a butter chicken right now. Oh my god, I love butter chicken so much.
So my wife and I ate Indian food a lot a while ago. That
Yum,
sounds
yum,
great.
yum,
Welcome
yum,
in, hun.
yum.
And so she learned curry recipes, and so she makes curry maybe once every other week or once every week,
I'm jealous.
and it's become so because we also make really big portions because like her and I have a serving, we have a roommate who has a serving, and then we like to make 5 servings so that her and I can also take it into work the next day.
Oh, yum.
Your curry's more Thai than Indian, correct?
Thai curry is also real good.
Yeah. So what has ended up happening is that we end up making too much curry for one reason or another, and I'll take in an extra serving into work and give it to one of my coworkers, and it's become like a well-known like, oh, Horatius's wife knows how to make good curry, and like if I bring it in like, oh, what you got for lunch today, Mr. Horatius? I go, I got, and they're like, oh, that's your wife's curry, isn't it? I was like, yeah.
Oh, yum.
So good.
Oh, now I want curry.
Sorry.
Nah, it's
Not sorry.
alright. I'll just be sad about it. It's fine. It's fine.
You can make it. It's not as intimidating to make as you might think.
Yeah, I might have to look up a recipe and try sometime. Hungry? I'm
Get some
sorry, Chad. I'm sorry.
order some curry paste. You normally order it like pretty cheap for a lot. And it's curry paste, some coconut oil, your preferred protein, veggies.
Ah,
So
now I'm
good.
hungry. Now I am
Yep.
hungry.
I get it.
Not
As a
just you,
professional
chat.
fat man, I have this effect.
It's not just you, Chad. It's me now too.
Just get to talking about food. I actually talked about this in my psychology lecture about eating disorders. I'm going to go pull up it. I always include one of my own little quotes that I write for these. And I'm a very firm believer of this quote. It's the fastest and most consistent way to learn the intimate details of another is to break bread with them.
Yeah, no, that does make sense.
In my humble fat man opinion, how old are the people you're teaching? Middle school. Horatius or Hora. If you want to shorten my name, go with Hora. I don't know who Horatio is. But yeah, you can learn so much about somebody by having a meal with them. You can learn what they like by watching what they get. You can learn a lot about like how they conduct themselves by how they treat like the service workers who's serving the food.
Oh,
You can learn a
yeah.
lot about how they conduct themselves in public by being in public with them at a meal. You learn a lot about like their social skills by how they interact with you during the meal. There's so much behavior going on during a meal that you can learn about somebody. It's one of my favorite things. So I say this publicly to anybody. If I have a meal with you, I am studying you every second of the way and making very, very, very big decisions about how I think about you during it.
Note to self. When eating around people, be mindful.
That sounds horny. Sure.
I tend to overeat on my own, but whenever I have people over hang out, I give up giving away a lot of food.
That says a lot about you.
Starts eating the napkin to throw you off.
I can't read them. I can't read them.
Oh shit, what am I gonna do here?
Ate a lot of food really fast. Yeah, and that says a lot about you.
Yeah, eating fast actually can like tell it, strangely enough, can tell someone a lot about even like your childhood.
Oh, yeah.
Eats the tablecloth. Spit that out. You'll know where that's
I
been.
see. I'm sitting with a sheep or a goat, perhaps.
A goat. You don't know where that's been. Get that out of there.
Right? That's so classic you, considering what we discussed today, that would be your remark.
Yeah, you don't know where that's been. Please don't eat that. Get that out of your mouth. Personally, I become very offended when people do not eat the food I prepare for them. No thanks, I had lunch today. Let me phrase that. Eat the food I cooked for you. So what's funny about that is I often, and like I'm better at it now, but because of my phobia, if I went over to someone's house and they cooked food, there is a very high chance I would not eat the food that they cooked. And that has offended people before.
Of course.
And it's like, I'm sorry, it's genuinely not you. I promise it's not you. I feel like eating fast tells you, yeah, this person had 20 minutes in lunch for lunch in school.
Mm.
I don't even remember how long I had in lunch or for school for lunch. I don't remember any of that. I feel like we had longer than 20 minutes. I don't know. I have no idea. Any number I'd say would be making it up because I super don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Me when I swallowed the table knives as a fun party trick, spit those out. That's not where those belong.
That's not for you.
That's not for you. Those knives are not for you. Yeah, that's interesting. I feel bad if I have to eat more than once at a person's place. Oh.
Mm.
I don't know. Like when I have people over, if I make food for people, I take joy in them getting more. I'm like, yeah, that's right. You liked it.
Yeah, because I mean, it makes you feel good, right?
Yeah. Like when someone was like, this is really good. I have a soup that I used to make a lot. It was like oh shoot, I keep wanting to say taco soup. It's not taco soup. But you know that it's that type of soup. I can't remember for the life of me what it's called. And people would get doubles and like triple bowls of it. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Keep going back for it because I made a whole crock pot full of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it is it's very fulfilling to see your work be appreciated, right? Mm. And whether it's cooking or the shed you've built or the therapy you've worked through with people or enjoying a online social space that's been curated for you, whatever it is, like getting the chance to see all of that is very, very valuable. And it makes you feel good. It's very validating to have your work be appreciated.
Love that you said that, because one of the things that I like to mention sometimes, and chat, here's some fun Cammy lore, if you didn't know this about me already. I used to tour, so I'm a part of a podcast that did some U.S. tours, and I also have horrible stage fright. So you can imagine how that went the first time, where I'm like, okay, this theater's filled with hundreds of people, and now I have to get up on stage and, you know, do this script. However, they would introduce the podcast. The person would go up on stage, the person who founded it all. And when you hear the people cheering and you know that they love the thing that you've put so much of your love into, like they are so passionate about the thing that you're passionate about producing. Yeah, the fear was still there, but suddenly that fear was more of an excitedness to share what I love, because now there's all of these people who love what I do. And they love the thing that we're doing and the thing that we are incredibly passionate about doing. So it was really interesting to have that switch, because at the beginning of every show, it was the same. I'd be terrified to go on stage. The person who created the podcast would go on stage, people would cheer, and it would be like, oh my God, they love the thing that I love doing. And it was almost like a switch flip. Like now I'm excited and not as scared, because I know that they are so excited to see this. Like they are so happy. So it's really fun getting to share what you like to do with other people, because like it's a really good feeling. It's a really good feeling. That's Absolutely. Why it's also like to a much smaller degree, it's nice to hear nice things, or like to even know nice things. Like I'm trying to get better at this, and this is this is same but different. if I'm at a store and someone's wearing a dress that I think is really pretty, it's terrifying to tell them that it's really pretty. But I know I've been in a spot where like I've had a really shitty day and someone comes up to me and they're like, "Oh my God, I love your dress." And suddenly like everything seems a lot brighter. So I'm trying to get to a point where I'm not as scared to tell someone that they're like, "Hey, your dress is really cool." People like when someone like is proud of something that they've done, even a small compliment goes such a long way. It's wild. It's wild. Words have meaning.
And a bit of guidance as a guy who tries to navigate the social spaces of perhaps complimenting a woman, perhaps, which has a lot of stigma on it.
Thank you, Crim Killer.
The way you want to compliment other people, especially strangers in public, is short, specific, and then you leave. In my understanding and my observations of like complimenting strangers, it gets awkward when you use it as a way to start a conversation with somebody. But if you just say, "Hey, this looks really nice. I love your hair," and then you just keep going, like then you let the person you're just talking to know that you meant nothing extra by that, just the exact words you said.
Willow, I have done the same. Sorry, I got really excited. I have done the same thing, and I always feel so bad because when I would do it, that like whenever I'd be like, "Can I talk to your manager?" They would always have like this look of fear, and the manager would come over and be like, "The waiter was amazing. Like 10 out of 10." I have done that before, and it feels good. It feels good because another small piece of Cammy lore. I used to be a waitress, and that doesn't happen a ton, at least not when I was in the field. Like that didn't really happen a ton. People never really wanted to speak to the manager unless there was a problem. So it's really nice to have them want to tell someone who is in charge of you, like as your boss, like, "Hey, this person's doing a good job."
Yeah.
It feels good. And I saw someone mention, a woman called me handsome in the line of Barnes & Noble 10 years ago, and I still remember it. Yeah, those things stick with you. I think like 4 or 5 years ago, I was at Universal, but it was either Universal or Disney, and this older lady, she had to be in her like 80s, complimented my dress, which was, and I remember, was a very like pinup style dress that had monster movie posters all over it. I will never forget that interaction ever in my life. But no, your point is really good. Like going by like, "Hey, I like XYZ," and then just keep walking. Like don't go and like, "Hey, I like XYZ. By the way, my name is so and so, and let me start a whole ass conversation." Like then it gets a little weird.
Yeah. Keep it short, keep it simple. Keep it gay.
Yeah. 100%. I used to do that just to troll the waiter. "Hey, now wait a minute." Wait a minute. Yeah, they do always think they're getting in trouble because like no one asks for the manager to say nice things except for I guess some of us. How else would you start a conversation? I guess I mean like starting a conversation is different than if you just wanted to compliment them on something. Like if you wanted to start if you want to start a conversation with someone, you'd probably want to do it differently than being like, "Hey, I love your hair," and then like trying to go into the conversation because then it feels like it was a forced thing to get into that conversation.
Right. It robs the compliment of its genuineness. Whereas if you want to say, "Hey, I have a quick question. Can I ask you about like you always should put the ball in their court about being like, "Hey, is it okay if we have a conversation?" Basically, right? If whatever it could be about. You always give them the opportunity. It's always an invitation, not a demand.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good way to put it.
I mean, hell, I'll pull the curtain back a little bit. I won't get into too many details, but like many of you probably didn't know that Cammy and I know each other. And that started because she reached out to me and asked if we could get to know each other.
Yeah.
She invited me to have a talk. And then we talked, and now we're pals, and
I'm
here. Like, you know, you give the person, like, you're being bold, you're being brave by opening the door, but it's up for the person that you're talking to come outside.
Yeah, and it would have been weird to be like, "Hey, I really like your model, By the way, you want to talk? Like, it would kind of like
Right.
diminish the fact that I said, "Hey, I really like your model," because it would feel like that was just like a way to try to, like, a disingenuous way to try to start a conversation.
Right.
It's easier to talk to someone when you know that you're a part of the same community or have a shared interest. The absence of that humor is a good icebreaker. Oh, I tried to told a girl years back that Sailor art was good, and she looked at me like I was weird. Yeah, I mean, some people might have like, there might be like something there, like she might have had bad situations before, and it's hard not to let that one stop you. I get that.
Yeah.
Like, I can't fault you for being nervous to do it again when you've had that sort of reaction in the past.
Do I know that character in Lord of the Rings? I'm gonna fut. It's not ringing a bell. Can you tell me about them? I'm really bad with proper nouns.
I swear to God, Lauren Brown Bear, if you say I'm gonna put these nuts in your mouth, I'm going to scream.
I'll leave.
Going to scream.
That is definitely what that is. That's absolutely what that is.
Has chat learned that they cannot these nuts me anymore, so they must go for my guests? Chat. How dare you? They know they can't get me. They know they can't get me.
Krim, I'm gonna go and time you out on my channel.
It's because I get them all the time. Like, not so much anymore, but there was a period of time where I got them a lot.
You got me? Good choice. I appreciate you not committing to that bit. Krim, you're timed out on my channel for 10 minutes.
I do love getting chat with those, though. That was, you might have got me with that if I hadn't said it out loud, Lord Brown Bear. You may have gotten that with me.
You get it.
Is that a Brazilian butt lift? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? I'm a 2D anime girl. What do you mean? My brother in Christ.
I mean, I'll get it. If you guys get me to 15K follows, I'll get one.
There you go.
I know an artist who will draw that right away. Broth Bowl! Broth! Can you draw me with a BBL? Thanks.
Thanks. I considered saying it was a WoW character during your tier list collab, but the conversation went too quickly. Oh, you would have gotten me, maybe. You maybe would have gotten me, maybe. I am easily gettable, but I do know a lot of them, so it's not as easy. Tell someone their model smells good, it'll go well. That would be like, hey, your model smells really good. I don't know how I would react to that.
I just imagine the way you would do that is you'd go to a con with a bunch of those standees.
Oh yeah, that would make sense.
And then you just like at them on Twitter and be like, your model smells really good, and just like be the worst.
And they'd be like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? What a thing to say to me on this day. Speaking of like things to say to me on this day, I did a tech check earlier for Vexpo, and they're like, hey, can you click on this link to like view the feed that we're receiving? And I clicked on the link and they rickrolled me.
Let's go.
They rickrolled me. I was like, what do you mean by this? And then they played dumb about it. They're like, oh my gosh, what do you mean? Is there something wrong with the link? And I was like, panicked for a minute because I was like, did I open the wrong thing? And they're like, no, don't worry, we do this to everyone. I'm like, oh my God.
That's so good.
Oh my God.
I rickroll my students every year once.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. They broke out an ancient meme. They super did.
Yeah.
And they got me. They got me so good. Ugh. Can't believe this.
Rickroll Gaslight Girl Boss, yeah. The ancient ritual persists? Of course it does.
It does persist.
I have to teach the next generation.
For me?
Evelyn, thank you for the raid. Welcome. We're doing a little bit of psych talk. I hope you had fun with Nier. I remember the time
It's
that I
so-
said automata instead of automata. I remember that time. I'll never forget that time. It was live on GDQ. It was an ad read for live on Games Done Quick while I was
Incredible.
hosting, and I said automata, and I will never
I
forget
don't
that
know what's the
day.
matter with you.
I also said Tucson for instead of Tucson. I will never forget
Oh.
that either. I will never forget these days in my life. Ugh. Amazing.
By the way, what's the fighting game character that has that old man with the hair that looks like a Y? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know a lot of fighting
Shame
game
on me.
characters.
I'm a fighting game guy, and I don't know.
If this is another D's Nuts jokes, I swear to God.
Tekken? Okay. Oh yeah, that is Tekken. Heihachi. Yeah. I see the Y. I see what you mean with a Y now. I would have gotten it if you said a V, I think. But the Y.
Oh
threw me
yeah, that
off.
does look a lot like a V.
Yeah.
You're on your guard. It'd be Tekken. God damn it.
Heh.
God damn it. Have a good
It's-
Eepies, Moth. Have a good seep.
Mm.
Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it.
It's so weird. So my community members in chat know, like, when I get rated, I sing
Do
for
you?
Raiders. I do. Are you familiar with The Hobbit?
I yes, not overly so, but yes.
Sure. Did you ever see the old animated Rankin Bass Hobbit
I
movie?
didn't. I did not.
It's one of my favorite films. It's the film that got me into fantasy as a kid. He has some pipes. Oh, thanks. But whenever I get rated, it plays the first 30 seconds of my cover of the song Greatest
Ooh.
Adventure, which is like the main song for the movie, and I'll sing along with it. And so when you get rated and you don't sing, I have to remind myself that, like, I'm the weird person that does that.
No, that's
And
really cool.
it is cool, but it is definitely abnormal, right? Like, most people, when they get rated, they just greet the raiders. Maybe they'll play like a trailer or something, at most, but like that's it.
Singing is fun. Singing good, actually.
Yeah, I love singing.
Yeah, it's good. It's fun.
That's actually how I warm up my voice for stream.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so like, how you do the 5-minute like starting soon.
Yeah.
I'll turn on the starting soon screen and then I'll sing to the early birds.
That's
During the
really
countdown.
cool. What the heck?
I sing a lot of folk songs and a lot of shanties.
I love that. The wood soup was video is comfy. I hope you don't. Oh, thank you. Wood soup was fun. Controversial opinion. Singing is fun. It is fun.
True, based.
Based and true.
He sings Rick Roll in the starting scene. I do not. I don't actually know all the lyrics for Rick Astley's one song. Which is so disingenuous because, like, the dude has an entire career and he is actually quite a good performer, but, like...
That is the only song people will ever know, I feel.
Yeah. You sing a meme song, you're the meme song guy.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
Toto
it for you.
has More Than Africa, but, like...
No, definitely
Name another
not.
song by Toto. Like,
I literally
I'll
can't
wait.
do it. I cannot do it.
You better have a super popular song than Forgotten. Yeah, Africa too. You're right. Cammy's voice is brilliant. I got shivers when she sung Sally's song. Yeah, I mean, you do have a very, very pretty voice. I'm not surprised
you.
that if you really put some chords on, you'd probably be incredible.
I forgot about the Sally song time. That was a good time.
Mm.
I started taking lessons.
Oh, really? That's wonderful. Toto's other song, It's Still Raining in Africa.
Please, it's still raining. Help. What do I do with all this rain?
That has Together Forever. Yeah. Yeah. Is there is there anything else that we wanted to get into tonight?
I know. I think we covered a lot of really good stuff.
Oh, I don't disagree.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of really good things.
Let me ask you this then. Let me give you a pointed question.
Yeah.
Is there a topic that you would like you always wanted to understand about mental health that maybe people, you're like, oh, I always heard this, but that can't be true, kind of thing?
Ooh, I can't think of anything that like hasn't already been disproven. Like to a smaller degree, growing up, the whole like going to therapy is not good, which we all know is false. Like, but I feel like when I was a kid, I would have been like, is that true that like going to therapy is not good? But now, like as an adult, I'm like, no, that's just something that generation believed. Is there anything? I'm like trying to think.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think if there's any misconceptions I have, but if there are, I probably don't know that they're misconceptions.
Yeah.
Is there a common one that you come across? Like a common thing that people want, like more clarification on?
We've touched on a fair bit of them.
Sorry, I just had to laugh, and I always heard if the therapist said, wait, stop for a moment, it means you're close to winning therapy.
That's correct. Yeah, that's absolutely right. You can win therapy, and it is a race. No, I think one of the big ones is that the little like number we like to throw out there is that it takes about on average 6 months to change a behavior.
Oh, I have heard that before.
I mean, there's a lot of variance to it. There's so many factors, but I think that's a big thing that I would say is if you feel like you're trying to make a pointed effort, not just like you're trying every now and then a little bit. If you're trying to make a pointed effort to change a behavior of yours, give yourself at least 6 months, man. It takes a long time. Especially if there's things that like you've been doing for years or decades and you're like, I think I don't want to pick my nose anymore. That's going to take some time, man. Like, I know I'm using a kind of a jokey example, but like, if that's something you want to stop doing, it's going to take a long time.
Sucking your thumb is the same way. Like some people suck their thumb into adulthood, and it's not just like an easy thing to just be like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah. I mean, like sometimes you'll have the benefit of trauma, and like, you'll change a behavior immediately cold turkey because of something traumatic. Builds like this blockage to you ever wanting to do it again, and that can happen. But generally speaking, for a behavior to healthily transfer or translate or change, takes about 6 months. Half a year, damn, yeah, that's a long time. And then you remind yourself that that's like 0.5% of your life potentially.
Chat says,
that's not that much when you think about it.
That actually isn't a lot when you think about it, yeah. Chat says, do you think having an anime waifu or similar obsession is an overall net positive or negative for someone in the long run? That's interesting, because I feel like a comfort could be good, right? But if something's an actual obsession to where you're only thinking about that, you're neglecting other things for that, that is not a good thing.
Fantasy is fun when it is used for fun. When fantasy is no longer for fun, it's not fantasy anymore. So if you are looking at something or like you have an anime waifu and it's no longer about like looking at this character makes me smile or makes me feel good about it or makes me feel good personally, if it's I need to have this character in my presence to feel good, we're not having fun anymore. We're codependent.
Also, someone brought up something that I was trying to figure out how to word was I would argue one misconception is you don't need therapy until you have a breakdown in an episode.
No.
Yep.
You do not. You should just get therapy.
Yeah.
I understand that I am financially biased to say this, but you, yes, you, not, wait, yeah, you need therapy. Get therapy. Get therapy. If you can afford it and it's available, or if your insurance covers it, get therapy. Even if it's just once a month, get therapy. Just do it.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. You don't need to have something like happen. You don't need to like go through something traumatic. It's not a bad thing for sure.
Yep.
It can be a very helpful tool.
Just do it. And plus, you get some cool person like me helps pay their bills, and that's pretty rad. And also, insurance is a gamble. Make them lose. Make the insurance company lose the gamble by making them pay for things.
Ooh, I love submitting things to insurance and then waiting for them to see if they're going to approve it or not.
Mm. Well, if you say like Shia LaBeouf, do it. Just do it. Let's see. Also, I'll say this: I would say the hardest part of therapy is starting it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there might be things that you find that are really hard to work through, but starting is, I think, the most difficult part for most people. Everyone could do with some therapy before. How do you feel about it? I feel yes about it. I feel that everyone could use a little bit of therapy. And the fact, and I'm going to tell you this right now, all mental health professionals have a therapist. We all do. We should. We need it. I almost said something very uncharitable. Because we deal with you people all day, is the joke. But is the Perry window true, Krim? I think therapy is great, but I think people get dependent on it. Yes, they do, which is why we were saying this earlier. If your therapist doesn't eventually treat you like the baby bird that you are and say that you can fly on your own and kicks you out, they're a bad therapist and are stealing your money. Eventually you work through it and they kick and you go on to do something else. There's the meme where it's like how to draw an owl, and it's like draw a couple of circles, draw a couple of ovals, draw the rest of the fucking owl. Eventually you do just have to draw the rest of the owl.
That's a really good way to put it.
A therapist or a mental health professional can help you learn how to draw the circles. They can teach you what details you have to put on the paper. But at the end of the day, you have to put the details on the paper and have to draw the owl. You just, at some point, you have to put in the work.
Draw the owl.
Draw the damn owl. What if I don't draw it really well? You won't, and that's okay. He assured me that he saved his life when he was a kid, so I'm not sure where it falls. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's some people just have those forever clients, those forever connections with a therapist. That happens. And some people need that chronic level of care, just as much as you would see it in what's the term I'm looking for? As you would see it with someone medically, right? If you are 3 years old and you have cancer, and you survive that experience, right? You might continue to work with that same doctor, that same cancer doctor, for years and years and years past your initial diagnosis, because they know your profile, they know your situation, blah, blah, blah. You sometimes you just stick with a professional for a long time. Whether or not you should, that's another story. But that's not uncommon. And some people do need that. What is the name of the shark in the corner?
That's Hork.
Okay.
He's a horse shark. The lore behind him is one day I was streaming and Flork said, "Hey, Cammy, I sent something to your place. Do you want to it should be there." And I go out onto the doorstep and it wasn't in a box. It was shrink wrapped. It came with so it was this clear plastic shrink wrap cube of what looked to be a shark, right? Because why would you think that it had legs? And as I was freeing it from its shrink wrap prison, legs started coming out. And it was the best experience. It was so funny.
I'm not gonna lie, Carts. I actually thought that this was another like these nuts bit.
I have never heard of the cockroach wife, Agtha. I did too at first, and then I was like, oh, I can't figure out a way to turn this into D's nuts. And then I just was like, I haven't heard of that. But I forgot about it. It's a journey. Oh my gosh, I'm still hungry for popcorn. Can therapy be substituted with the comfort of cracking open a cold one? No.
I did have a cold one earlier. I had some cream soda that I cracked open at the start of stream.
Ooh, creme soda. Creme soda.
Lord Brown Bear, I don't know if singing here is something that we're doing, but if you do want to come and hear me, I sing every Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. EST.
10 a.m. Oh my gosh, that's a time. I have to get up. I have to wake up.
It's hilarious because so much of my community is European because of when I stream.
That makes sense. Yeah, I am. Gosh, the weekends 10 a.m. I'm not usually awake at 10 a.m. Sometimes, but usually I stay up way too late.
I used to stream earlier.
There's an earlier?
Streams at like I used to. I used to start my streams at 8.
Ugh. Yeah, you can link. That's fine. I might not be able to check it out right now, but you can link. It shouldn't time you out. I don't think I have anything set up to do that. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to read this at some point. Oh, maybe I Oh, I still have to do the Tfue stream. I'm going to bookmark this to read for later. Today I fucked up by admitting to my girlfriend that I pretend she's a giant cockroach when we have sex. Okay, I will read that later. I promise you I will.
That's trippy.
That is my gift to you. Are there any other... Are there any other questions that anyone has real quick? Because I probably should eat soon because I haven't had anything since breakfast and I'm pretty hungry.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go to bed after we're done.
Yeah. You are allowed to sleep. I free you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it.
This has been a treat.
Yeah.
Can we chum the waters with the plan for this stream?
Oh yeah, go for it. Chum the waters.
So, this is actually a two-parter. Not in the not too distant future, date to be determined. We are going to be doing this exact same type of stream over on my channel, on a Saturday or a Sunday morning at 10 a.m. EST.
Yeah, which I will wake up for.
So, if you enjoyed what we did here, make sure you are following me. And when we do this, we'll make sure we post about it and talk about it everywhere. And then you can come and see what it's like over here at my mountain home.
Oh, that'll be really fun.
Similar topics, but different set dressing.
I'm really excited for that. We'll have to set that up soon because I'm very excited.
And you guys remember, you got to get me to 15,000 followers so I can get myself drawn with a BBL.
Yes, that was the deal.
But yeah, I'm feeling really great about this. I'm really glad. I'm gonna give you a very bold compliment in public.
Ooh.
I am very glad that you chose to be brave and reach out to me because this was a delight.
It was really fun. I had a really good time. I loved learning, and it was nice. It was really nice. Thank you. Thank you so much, Chad. I'm gonna send you over somewhere. Where? I don't know. Let me see.
Welcome to the asylum, Captor.
Thank you for the follow. Oh, I know where I'm gonna. I already know where I'm gonna send you. Hold on. I know where I'm gonna send you. First of all, I have to bookmark this so I don't forget about it. Second of all, I know where I'm going to send you. I'm going to send you to Dan. Chad, thank you so much for joining us today. Please, please, please join back when we do part 2. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll definitely announce that everywhere when we do it. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Go say hi to Dan. Give him lots of love. He's playing Elden Ring, and I hear that he might be playing some Dark Souls later.
Ooh.
Yeah, Dark Souls good.
I like Souls games. I just did a Soulsathon. I played through
You did a Soulsathon? That's awesome.
I did. I played through Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Sekiro, and Elden Ring.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
A lot of fun.
All right, chat. Go give love. He's currently playing Night Rain. And then we'll be doing some seamless co-op Dark Souls 3 after that. So go give love. See you later. Check it out here. Thank you for being here.
Welcome to
Okay,
the
bye.
asylum.
Bye, chat. Thank you for the follow. Bye, chat.